probably find someone who can treat me better than you, but I can't imagine someone better than you. I'm picking it up, it's not what you want, I get it. Not looking for love, not thinking at all about it. I could be taking a hint and moving on, but I know you're scared to commit, so you act like I don't even exist. You know I deserve it better than this, so why am I still down for you? Act like it's some kind of game, the way you give something, take it away. You know I hate that you're making me wait, so why am I still down for you? You want, I get it. Not looking for love, not thinking at all about it. I could be taking a hint and moving on, but I know you're scared to commit, so you act like I don't even exist. You know I deserve it better than this, so why am I still down for you? Act like it's some kind of game, the way you give something, take it away. You know I hate that you're making me wait, so why am I still down for you?
I heard you ran away to Hollywood to find yourself somebody who understood, but you didn't find it there. You waited black coffee and nobody cared. Under the bridge.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Victoris Triumph Series, the Friday night extravaganza. We're here in playoffs, and we're here on the desk to show it to you. I am your host, Becky Rita. Joining me today, as always, I've got Moose, I've got TDS, and we've got Cow behind the cameras. Moose, how are you hanging in there today? You know, how's the weather? How are things?
Um, things are okay, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
I mean, aside from vaguely gestures, let's, don't worry about that, I guess. Haha. TDS, how are things going for you?
Being better, being Seagull week, so
Oh,
it's really bothersome. But it's been good anyways, apart from that.
yeah. Well, I hope you're feeling at least better today and good enough that we can get a look at these wonderful games we're going to be watching today. Take our minds off of any stress, hopefully take our minds off of any stresses in the world and put on a good show for the audience in chat. And I believe you saw the playoff bracket in the little opening scroll there, so we'll talk about that later. But first, because last week was the last week, let's get a look at the final standings for how the two groups came out and which teams came out on top. In Group A, we had VGA, Rice Farmers, GBC, and GEB making it out of their group. GEB won the tiebreaker over CB Uwu, which is just tragic. Good. They had a good run. It was a good comeback, a
Yeah.
good effort from CB Uwu. I think they put in a good hustle, just not close enough to get over the finish line there. But gotta take what you can get. On the other side of the bracket, we have Group B, where we had Team Ambition Black, Gank 7 Mirage, CB Infusion, and Ragnarok Esports Thor making it out of the group. And these 8 teams will be battling it out in across the next 3 weeks, including this one. So they will be looking to claim that prize at the end of the split, which is, of course, $1,100 for the first place team and $400 for the second place team, whoever that is. So you want to make it to finals regardless of who you are. And then, of course, you want to get the bigger prize pool, but getting to finals at the very least is how you're going to get money. So these teams, both money and, of course, fame, pride, accomplishment, and the ability to flex on other people in the banter chat. That's
What better
really
than
what
that?
matters.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
money is overvalued, so
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah,
Oh man.
That is what it is. So I'm curious, now that we've sort of reached the end of the split, are you at all, either of you at all, surprised about the teams that actually made it into playoffs? Or is this sort of who you expected? Was there anybody that you think sort of got upset across the course of the season?
So I have two. I feel like two teams definitely stick out to my head in terms of who I expected to see in playoffs and at the end didn't see them there. First of all, Akuma Blades, I think that pretty much
Oh, yeah.
surprises a lot of people because yes, they were rebuilding, but at the same time, they are a team that consistently do so well in a lot of the tournaments that seeing them failing just short of playoffs, they were really, really close and being thrown out of playoffs just about feels a little bit weird with them. And I was expecting a little bit more coming from them, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. I was also surprised to see Akuma Blades not make it to the end here, but I think they put on a good show regardless, and they will be looking good and set up for the next split where they can come back and get another shot at taking the title. Moose, do you have any teams in particular on your mind that you're surprised about, or is this sort of what you expected?
Say that I'm not surprised considering what we had heard all split. Especially on Group B, there was a lot of talk about how Group B is definitely stacked, and there's just so much power that was within it. You had, the runners up, Akuma Blades. You had Gang 7 Mirage, CB Infusion, and Team Ambition Black, who are all really, really strong teams. And for me, like, it was really, really fun to see the Ragnarok Esports Thor was able to make it in. They came out of the early parts of the split not
Mhm.
very good. They
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
look like they were performing very well, but then they got their act together at the end of the split, and that's what you needed to do. And for Group A, it was kind of the same thing for like CB Uwu there on that, or ended up being fifth. Had they played a little bit better in the earlier part of the split, they might have been able to take the fourth place finish and gone into the playoffs like Glacial Esports Black did. But, you know, that was really, really scary because you look at four teams in Group A that were all 4-3. So it again emphasizes how important it is to stay consistent throughout the entirety of the split. The teams that were able to make it into the playoffs were the teams that performed better earlier on and were able to stay a little bit more consistent. And I think, you know, for CBO Woo, this was a learning experience for them. Like, you don't need to, the goal is not to lose, you know, in the
Oh,
first
yes.
couple of weeks.
The goal is not to
Certainly.
lose. Wise words. Remember this, everyone. Don't lose.
Well, if you think about it, they lose week 1, week 2, week 3 to VGA, which everyone lost to. Then
Yep.
they lose to Glacial Esports Black, which is the reason why they lost the tiebreaker. And then they
Mhm.
also lose to Gothboy Click because of an FF. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, had they played that week 3 matchup, it might have been a different game. They might have had a chance to win, but it didn't matter that they won 4 rounds in a row because they forfeited week 3 and then they lost weeks 1 and 2. So no excuses there. The FF is unfortunate, but I don't think that the standings are incorrect. I think they're reflective of the power of all the teams that are there.
Yeah, I would agree. So I will say I am actually maybe not surprised, but more impressed with Ragnarok Esports Thor managing to crack their way into the top 4. Very just good work from the team, improving across the course of the season and managing to get into that last playoff spot. And hopefully they can make some magic happen in the playoffs proper. If we
They
can
have a tough matchup though.
Yeah, no, they've got a tough matchup. And to transition, we can get a look at that playoff bracket again in more detail, perhaps, maybe? Question mark. Well, I know we have it.
Yeah.
Here it is. Boom, baby. There is the playoff bracket right here. So the other matches that are happening along with our featured match of the day are VG Ambition versus Ragnarok Esports Thor up there at the top. Gang 7 Mirage versus Gothboy Click. Rice Farmers versus CB Infusion below, and we will be watching Team Ambition Black versus Glacial Esports Black. 2 teams battling it out for the next step of the playoffs. There's no elimination bracket, so you got one shot, one opportunity. You got to make it count. So yeah, pulling it back to the desk here, I'm interested looking at the matchups that we're not seeing today. What are your sort of expectations for how these matches are going to shake out, and what we can expect to see next week?
I do have my predictions for essentially all the other matchups. I pretty much have set up for who I think it's going to go into the semifinals for each side. Maybe a little bit less for the contestant for this side of the semifinals. I know I'm not sure if I should say my predictions already for the match that we were seeing, but well, who cares? I think TAB is going to go. So I'm not sure who is going to be TAB's opponent in the semifinal, but I'm pretty sure TAB is going to win. And on the other side, I also have the 2 semifinalists that I think are going to go there.
Okay.
Although it's much more, to me at least, on the side of BG, I think that there's much more competition and could be a little bit more difficult on that side of the bracket. I feel like whoever comes out of there, it's going to have a harder time than I think TAB will on this side.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's sort of revealing your hand a little bit about your expectations for tonight's match. Moose, do you sort of share that sentiment, or do you have different teams that you're maybe looking at to get into the semifinals?
Listen, I'm going to be a little bit more outgoing here with this opinion
Okay.
because
Okay.
you know, I've had a ton of opportunities to be able to cast for Team Ambition. I've seen Team Ambition Black in action, especially in playoff brackets. I think that they've got this in the bag. I think that they will absolutely win this matchup against Glacial Esports. I maybe Glacial Esports comes back, and that's the joy of esports, right? Is that just because you might be first seed doesn't mean that you're automatically guaranteed to make it into the semifinals. But considering what I've seen out of Team Ambition throughout the last year or so since I've casted for them, and I've casted Team Ambition before, I do expect that they will be able to get a finals appearance. I expect them to have a really, really good time in this matchup. I think that it's going to be a little bit harder in their semifinals matchup, whether it is Rice Farmers or CB Infusion. But I do think that this should be a Team Ambition Black opportunity. And for the other side of the bracket, you've got some really, really big heavy hitters that are there. You've got VG Ambition and Gang 7 Mirage. I think both of those teams could potentially be a finals contender, and Gothboy Click has that opportunity to make that happen too. But VG Ambition, I think that Ambition has... The Ambition's feeling like a little bit of a wild card for me because, like I said earlier, the difficulty of Group A has been in question. How powerful is actually Group A in comparison to Group B? Is Ragnarok Esports Thor actually on par with Ambition, or is Ambition actually a far superior team, and just because they were in Group A is a moot point? They're actually still the strongest team in the tournament. So really, really tough matchup there. I do think I still have to give to VG Ambition. As for Gang 7 Mirage versus Gothboy Click, I think that's going to be... I think that's going to be a Gang 7 win. I think Gang 7 has played a phenomenal group play. I think that they played a phenomenal group stage. I think that they had a couple of slip-ups, but they ended up being second seed for a reason, and I do believe that it's going to be a VG Ambition versus Gang 7 Mirage semifinal.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm on that idea as well. I feel like it's bound to happen.
I like those predictions. But before we get that information, we also have our own featured matchup of the night. We've already talked about it a little bit, but just to formally get into the breakdown, we've got the matchup between Team Ambition Black and GEB.
GEB.
Glacial Esports Black. There they are. These teams are matching up here, and it is going to be a very... I think we're all sort of leaning towards the fact that Team Ambition is absolutely favored here in terms of the matchup, at least from based on the prior knowledge that we have of these two groups. Group B was a tougher group. Team Ambition still maintained their streak of being undefeated. Meanwhile, Glacial Esports Black had a rougher time in a perceptively easier group. So it's pretty obvious. It's maybe not obvious, but it's predicted that Team Ambition are going to have a stronger showing tonight than maybe the other team. But as we pull it back to the desk, I have to get your two's thoughts. We've sort of already heard your two thoughts. You both think that Team Ambition Black is going to take it today.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm really not doubting them.
I would be surprised. I would be just flabbergasted if they don't make it happen. And that's not to take away from Glacial Esports. I think that because I have more experience with Team Ambition, I think that we're going to see a lot of we're going to see a lot of what makes them a really good team to begin with. I just... Opinion-wise, I'm completely biased. Like I talked about, I do have a ton of, I have a ton of ambition, a ton of Team Ambition experience. I've casted for them before. I do have a little bit of a tie to them, but despite that, you got to look at the numbers, and I really want to look at the bottom lane and this jungle for Team Ambition. You're looking at All For One and Turk, who have played pretty well with pairing at a 6.5 KDA comparatively to Glacial Esports bottom lane, who it's not terrible, but you're looking at a barely positive KDA for their support in the games that they played. You're looking at a 4.9 KDA for the ADC in the games that they played. So it's just going to be a really, really tough predicament there. And then in the jungle as well. Castle is an extremely potent jungler. 2.02 dragons per game with a 1.28 herald advantage. Like, they really focus in on the early game, and I think that is where Team Ambition Black is going to win their games. It's going to be in early game dominance, and they're never going to allow Glacial Esports to get their foot in the door.
Okay. So you're predicting 3-0 then for
Yeah.
Team Ambition?
I'm going 3-0.
All right, TDS.
I feel like you can just put mine as well there, 3-0 as well. I'm not giving anything to GEB, sadly to say it like that, but to me, when I was looking at the matchups, how I expected them to go and how I expected team strength, considering everything that was going on, I feel like this would be the biggest upset if GEB wins. Like, I don't think it's comparable to any other team winning in a matchup that it's not favorable to them in any of the other three matchups, because I think GEB is the weakest team out of every other team. That, like, if it was an order between 1 and 8, I would put GEB as 8. I would put TA between 1 and 2. So this, to me, would be the biggest upset. I think that RST has a better chance considering their group, and also because, to me, there's a huge asterisk with GEB because of how they came out of group. Not necessarily because I think they're bad, but the way that they came out of group was a tiebreaker against a CBU, but that was yet to be consolidated, and I feel like that is a big asterisk, because if they played again, I'm not even sure if CBU would have lost or if GEB would have gotten a victory out of that matchup if they played recently. So I'm not really convinced with GEB in the overall context of the playoffs, and I think TA should have a pretty convincing victory over them today.
Okay. Well, I suppose I have to give my own prediction. I do also think it's going to be Team Ambition Black. However, I think that because of potentially new patch jitters, or maybe some cheese that Team Ambition hasn't prepared for, or just some things that you just I don't know, media, internet issues, unpredictable factors. I think that I think that Team Ambition will take it, but they will drop a game. I think they will find a way to drop a game to global esports, glacial esports black, not global. What am I thinking?
Global
Their
esports.
icon looks like a globe. I don't know.
I think they are now. I think they are glacial global now, so it does go into their name.
All right. Well, with that in mind, I believe while we wait to get into the draft, we're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break. And when we come back, we'll get to see what these two teams are going to bring to the table on the new patch. And in the first match of our quarterfinals playoff between Team Ambition Black and Glacial Esports Black. Stick around. We'll be back with the draft after the break.
After all that we've been through, I think it's fair from me to you. Watch it burn as we soar away. Hey, hey. After all is said and done, and I know I am the one, I have waited here forever. But all I know is what I'm told. This feeling cannot be controlled. Watch the stars when I am gone. Have faith in me, we'll behold. The skies are cast, they are foretold. Watch the stars when I'm gone. When I am gone. You carry the world upon your shoulders. For I'm not the only one. How could you look behind now when everything is done? Oh, you carry the world upon your shoulders. For I'm not the only one.
As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above our town, I can finally see you now. I see the fear inside your eyes, I see the pain hidden in your smile. I can finally see you now. Oh, we radiate all over the world. We used to radiate, but now we're drowning. As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town, we used to radiate, but now we're drowning. I see the fear inside your eyes, I see the pain hidden in your smile. I can finally see you now. Oh, we radiate all over the world. We used to radiate, but now we're drowning. As the leaves start falling down and the shadows above the town, we used to radiate, but now we're drowning.
Welcome back, everybody. And sorry about the delay here. I know I said we were going to be in the draft, but there's a uh, traffic delay, I believe, for the players on Glacial Esports Black. So we will be waiting for them to show up. And in the meantime, just so that you aren't all waiting, I'm sure you were enjoying the music, though. The great selection of tracks provided by Cow.
Not enough
But
metal.
not enough metal. Not
Yeah,
enough metal.
questionable.
Understandable. But for the time being, there are some stuff that I at least still wanted to talk about briefly before we get into the games, because there was actually a new patch yesterday. Because of the federal holiday on Monday, they delayed the patch a day. So Thursday ended up being patch night, and there has not been a lot of time to really adjust. And while, again, this is not as big as the durability update, it is still another patch on the same scope as what we saw for 12.11. And there were some significant consequences to that patch, and I think there are going to be some significant changes to this patch as well. I believe Belveth is still disabled. I will double check that. For the rest of the season. Okay, so there will be never
Makes
a
sense.
Belveth, understandably, and
Yeah.
never a Nyla if the champion releases while we are still in playoffs. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's how the timetable works. But
Yeah, I don't think
that
she's
is,
out before we finish, so that's fine. We're
yeah.
not going
But
to be with that mess that
yeah.
broken
Ooh,
mess. Yeah.
Oh, Nyla is. Whew, how
Yeah,
many years? Oh, so many collective
we
years.
we will have time to be with her later on.
We'll get to complain about Nyla plenty
Yeah.
next split. But for the time being, we do have patch 12.12 to look at. I'm sure both of you are at least somewhat familiar with the changes that they brought to the table. So I'm curious as to what you feel is going to be impactful for this series. I know that our producer Cal was talking about how good Ivern feels right now. So I'm interested to get your opinions on what you feel is strong on this patch and what teams should maybe be looking at if they want to get an edge in this playoff match.
Well, I'll start it off really quick. I will say it again because we've had a couple of patches. Especially when I said it in 12.10, I'm gonna say it again now. Focus on your fundamentals. Make sure that whatever champion you decide to go for, whether it be a champion that you're familiar with, whether it be a champion that you enjoy, make sure, or whether it's a champion that you wanted to play because it's meta appropriate, make sure that your fundamentals of that champion are on point, especially in a playoff match. I would much rather see a player play a B tier champion at an S tier level than a player play an S tier champion at a B tier level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I think that's very reasonable. Like you said, you mentioned it before. The fundamentals are super important, especially on new patches where everything's where everything's really volatile. Maybe not this patch. I feel definitely the durability patch, there was a lot of volatility on the first couple days afterwards. People have had time now to get adjusted to the damage differences, adjusted to the how much more it'll take to actually kill people, and adjusted for how many rotations they need to actually secure kills in the current meta. But there are still some picks that I think there's definitely some champions that have been adjusted. For example, Seraphine randomly got buffed despite having a really good win rate. And they just made her better for reasons unknown. Selling
Yeah, that
skins,
is
I'm not
like
sure.
that champion is to me the only thing that I would go against from what Moose is saying, because I do agree with everything that Moose is implying here. It's better to be playing at a higher rate than to just focus on certain things in meta. But when a champion is so extremely broken that it can just go over everything that you desire to do, like Seraphine, I feel like you have to go for priority with that champion at least, or ban it away. Like it's one of the two. You cannot let the champion go unchecked. Point.
I cannot let the champion go unchecked. I would agree with that. She is quite good. Enchanters in general are still quite good on this patch, and it's worthwhile to just get in there and actually do something about these champions and maybe abuse them. Another champion to potentially abuse, although he sort of started popping up at the end of 12.11 and did end up getting hit, but maybe not enough, was Singed. Singed is very scary. This champion, he did get the hits from the Predator nerfs and the reduction to the mega adhesive slow on the recent patch, but the hits to
Great
the
name.
mega adhesive slow weren't that significant. It was only 10% hit at level 1, and it actually scales. Singed does scale now. He scales better. They hurt his early game power, but most particularly they hit Predator pretty significantly. But I still don't think these changes are enough to stop what was making Singed a super oppressive early game mid laner and a really oppressive roaming utility champion that just snowballs the map around him. Maybe it's just from I have a bit of a skewed experience because my draft team abused Singed quite a lot on Monday, but this champion feels still pretty good on this patch, and I'm interested to see if do you think that teams are perhaps going to look into picking this up, or is he gonna just get ignored and go back to being a fringe, weird, niche champion?
I love the fact that it can be a mid laner now. I legitimately love the fact that it is a mid laner because it just opens up so much room to do certain things that you previously couldn't. I think that can become quite like the Galio of old, or maybe something like there was the Hecarim that you could play in mid lane as well. When previously it was fun in certain matchups. So I'm glad that Singe is coming to that state. But I feel like people, much more so than mid lane, support Singe is actually really, really, really good, especially because of the adhesive. It's one thing that I think people are not yet realizing. And it reminds me, first of all, against Yumi, reminds me of Bolivar when Bolivar pre-rework was going towards bot lane against Yumi, where they couldn't allow for the knockback allow for you to stop Yumi from going back into the person, and that was a really good combo that you can play with. Sinch can play around that idea as well. But I think the adhesive against enchanters is also really, really good because it stops them from running away. Not a lot of enchanters do have a lot of things to escape apart from the flash. So I think Singe support with the adhesive can be really, really good as well in the bot lane.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we saw Lehens pull out
Yep.
the Singe support, and I didn't look bad. Did not look bad. Maybe it's an interesting pick. I like how dynamic the Singed is and how he sort of changes the game and how the
Yep.
game works. Very similar to Blitzcrank. Speaking of Blitzcrank, Mr. Robot himself received a bit of a buff. It was to his damage numbers. Do you think this makes Blitz at all a viable pick? Moose, I know you're more of a support friend, a friend of supports. What do you think? Do you think the Blitz
Support
changes
friend.
actually make a difference for the champion, or is he still gonna be that like pocket pick that you typically see him?
Blitzcrank will always be a pocket pick, and you can never change my mind about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
It's not going to, like, Blitzcrank in and of itself is a champion that is a disruptor. It can be an initiator, something that very low ceiling for how effective the champion can be, right? Once you use your grab, once you use your knockup, once you use your ultimate, there's very little that you do except punch. And it's not really an
Yep.
effective punch at that. So, you look at that wombo combo, and it's because it is so niche. If you can perform it, if you can make it really, really, if you can make it work, then absolutely make it work. But there are other champions that do the same thing, but have a much better opportunity to be more impactful. If you're going to pick a support champion that has a hook, if you wanted to go like, for the hook champions, like you can go for the Nautilus, you can go for the Pike, you can go for the Blitzcrank, maybe try out a
Fresh.
Mumu.
Ooh, a Mumu got
Maybe
buffed
give
too.
maybe give a Mumu a shot. They specifically
He is
said in
popping
the
up.
patch. They specifically said in the patch they wanted to buff a Mumu's support play, and so they reduced the mana cost on the Q and increased the damage on his ultimate, which is going to give him that early game power. And because you have that bandage toss and a much easier cooldown than the rocket grab, and it's not as punishing if you don't land it, very, very important to, maybe pick a Mumu as your option. But again, I'm going to say it, like, If either one of these supports knows how to play a Mumu, and they played a Mumu before today, go for it. If you haven't, let it go for the day.
Nah.
Let
I
it
think that
disappear.
just ignore him, like everyone else does. No, I think that the Amumu support is actually going to be very strong. Maybe not necessarily now, but once people start actually picking him back up, because he had that sort of resurgence when they gave his Q2 charges and they made the last
Yeah.
set of changes to him. But the mana cost was still a bit too much for him to actually do anything in the support role after he got nerfed. But now that the cost for the Q is like it's 30 mana level 1. It is so cheap and you still get 2 charges and you can still just lock somebody down in the early game. It makes him such a strong early game support, and I think it will allow some more aggressive bot lane options. Granted, I still think we're gonna be seeing hyper carries. I don't think the hyper carries are out of the meta yet. We still need to hit Zeri a few more times before she finally leaves.
A few more
But
times.
it's just a few
Wow.
more. No, just keep swinging. It's all right.
Well, the
But
first one certainly didn't work out because this nerf, I don't think it's going to change anything.
okay, yeah. I mean, nah. I played a bit of Zeri yesterday, and I was like, wow, nothing happened. So yeah, I think that there are some interesting support picks to look at on this patch, especially,
True.
and I'm hoping to see that we see some adaptations from these teams utilizing the fantastic changes that Riot has brought on the patch. I've been a fan of the patches they've been doing recently. I think that the game's going in a very good direction, and I'm excited to see what these teams can bring to the table at this high level of competitive play with everything on the line. Who's gonna bust out first time Ivern mid? Who's gonna try and play Shaco for some reason? It could happen, and it probably won't, but it will be crazy if it does. So, with that in mind, I believe we are ready to get into draft now. Sorry for the delay, everyone. The issues have been resolved. I'm sure the particulars of what teams are losing based on delays and everything will be explained by Moose and or TDS once we get that info about if they lost bans or anything. They will elaborate on that in the draft screen. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and send you all over to draft. Moose, TDS, have fun and take it away.
Much Becky Rita always bringing in the hype and showing us the importance of this match. Now, of course, Team Ambition Black, the first seed out of Group B. Glacial Esports Black, the fourth seed out of Group A, but it was a four-way tie between second and fifth. So keep that in mind as we get ourselves into this draft here, TDS. Looking at the bans, Team Ambition Black has decided to take away the Kindred, the Anivia, and the Fiora. Some comfort picks, maybe some key matchups that Glacial Esports wanted to go for. But Glacial Esports, unfortunately, due to a traffic error, you do lose 2 bans. I guess one of their players was stuck in traffic. Regardless of that, you gotta be here on time if you guarantee that you're gonna be there, and you weren't. So they lose 2 bans and they pick out the Wukong, with Azir being the B1 pick for TAB.
Interesting that they are opting into the Azir first pick, not a champion that we see first pick really often. He's a good blind pick in the mid lane because of his late game power, the control that he has in lane most of the time. So surprising to see him come as a first pick, but maybe they just feel like this is such a contested champion between both mid laners that they need to take it away, especially with the bans that they went, because with the Anivia ban here, I think maybe they just wanted to have this powerful bird in the mid lane. Maybe against the Anivia would have not worked out that great, but they are giving up things like Senna and potentially the Seraphine as well.
Exactly. Seraphine, another one of those champions that got a little bit of love in 12.12. I believe their beat drop is going to be a little bit powerful, which is that E. Got a little bit of increase on the cooldown in the early game, and the stun that you can get with it is going to be much more impactful, switching between 1 second and 1.5 for that slow and that stun. So like you said, can be available here. Senna has been seeing a little bit of niche play and also some really good aggressive play just by themselves, and going to be available in this first match. It does look like we could still see that 10 and TK come through, but it's Talia that gets locked in.
Yeah, and I seen the Talia Assyrian matchup over the weekend. I think it was CLG that played it. I really liked the impact that the Talia had and the power of the wall certainly making so much value. So I think the Talia here can be quite good. The flex potential obviously can come through from the Talia. So all in all, great pick to play around with. And if you can get a good matchup, against a good matchup can be really good. Listen, here interesting that it's opting against the Talia, because one thing that Talia now can do with the tempered ground, I think it is, can be just denying the Lee Sin from going towards that kick potential because of the immediate stun. And I find it kind of surprising to opting for the Lee Sin, but it must be a comfort pick for Castle to just play around something that he feels comfortable with, and also maybe to facilitate between the early game and the late game for the side of TAB, because two of their champions are really good in the later stages. The Lee Sin will be able to facilitate the early stage of the game.
100%, which is why I gotta emphasize I disagree with the decision for Glacial Esports to pick the Talia in the R2 spot, because you could have gone for that Senna TK. Had TAB decided to go with Talia here, then you can go for something like the Lee Sin, but Lee Sin is still a huge counter to what Talia wants to do, especially in the early game. In the early game, even if you get hit by that stun, it doesn't matter. Lee Sin is focused in on shutting down this Talia early on and getting his lanes ahead. And with that pick locked in, Talia's gonna have a really hard time keeping pace with the Blind Monk in the jungle. But the TK does get locked in, so you do have the Senna TK that is going to be available in the bottom lane. And it looks like we are getting some of those priority support bans taken away with that Karma, not allowing for that dynamic duo, the Ezreal Karma being available, and the initiating potential of the Rakan going to be denied from Turk as well.
Yeah, taking two supports away. Obviously, because they took the Tahm Kench, I feel like they are just attacking the pool that can really impact against the Tahm Kench and also can work quite nicely with the Ezreal. So makes sense the champions that we're seeing. Attack towards the top lane pool from the side of TAB, I think it's a smart decision. But GEB can honestly just go here for something like a Tahm Kench, since they already have a lot of late game prowess. A Norn, to have the safe top laner, leave the counter pick for the mid lane, or pick here mid lane since you know that it's easier, and get another counter pick for the top lane. I think that's also something that they could opt for. Instead, it's the Bolivar. Could be the Talia mid, and then the Bolivar in the jungle to leave for the top lane still.
100% agree. 100% agree with this decision. It makes much more sense than having the Talia go into the jungle against the Lee Sin. If your mid laner can pick it up, you can play relatively well into the Azir. Early game Azir isn't as scary as a late game Azir, and Talia does want to take that time to scale up. So if you put in the Volibear in the jungle, Lee Sin is not going to have that free range that he had in the early game if it is going to be a Talia jungle. But like you said, there is still a lot of adaptation for Glacial Esports to pick up here in this draft. Now TAB has to make the decision. What do they want to go for? It's the Yuumi that's going to be paired up with the Ezreal in the bottom lane.
So I like this combo here because if you're going to go against Senna Tahm Kench, either you have a heavy pushing lane or a really good scaling lane to go against the Senna Tahm Kench. And I think the Ezreal Yuumi here, a really good idea. Now leaving it for the top lane with Camille banned away, and with the Darius as well, potentially playing for the top lane. I would like a frontliner here. Shen wouldn't be a champion that I would be against, just because it does give you the map priority, and the Stand United can be good. I can see Sion as well having that midi frontliner like the Urn could be ideal. But instead, this is not a bad option, especially because there's three champions that don't have a lot of mobility. Talia, Senna, and Tahm Kench don't necessarily have the highest way of mobility, and the Talia tempered ground doesn't stun the Malphite with the ult. So I think that can be a really good way to just force engages to happen. And also I think that it does interact with the rocks. So even if you don't get stunned, you do pull the rocks away, which enables a little bit the Lee Sin from not getting stunned away. So I think the interaction there can work out quite nicely for TV.
100%, and you said it correctly. You know, the scattered stones do not proc a stun on Malphite because he is unstoppable when he goes with those. Aatrox is going to be locked in, which does confirm it's going to be an Aatrox versus the Malphite in the in the top lane. I do believe, now that we've seen the Volibear and the Talia, that it will be a Talia mid lane with a Volibear in the jungle. I think that makes a lot more sense here for Glacial Esports, and I like this draft a little bit more than having Talia in the jungle, so great adaptation from Glacial Esports to make that decision.
Yeah, I think that Bolivar, at least, it's going to contest towards that early game prowess that the Lee Sin will have. and can enable some of the lanes. Because one of the things that I think GEB needs to do really heavily, even though I think that it may hard, it's trying to put this Aatrox in a spot that he can comfortably go against some of the champions from TAB. Because if he doesn't get a lead, or if he's not in a spot where he can just go into the backline and try and solo them, it can be really hard for GEB. Like, some of their champions take some time to find a really good spot to be in, like the center of the Talia. Even though I think Talia will find a lot of value with her Weaver's Wall going into the side lanes, I still think that she's going to take a little bit more time till we find what she truly is capable of. And it's going to be a lot on the Polybear and the Aatrox to carry that early part of the game into then what the Talia and the Senna really, really want to shine on.
For sure, and Heralds can give you that opportunity, and so I really want to see how well the Herald play it does come through here in the top lane. Malphite Lee Sin maybe can contest if they get a good play, and Azir is able to get some priority against the Talia, but even then, like, the power of Glacial Esports composition is going to be the power of this roaming Talia being able to use that Weaver's Wall and go in for a potential 4-man play in the bottom lane or a 3-man play in the top lane. If there is ever a fight in the jungle, Talia can just go in for that Weaver's Wall, be there, provide that support, provide that extra body, and could potentially turn that fight in favor of Glacial Esports. What Team Ambition has is a ton of mobility to go against it. Every single one of Team Ambition's champions have a way to get over the Weaver's Wall and have a way to stop the impact of the TK Abyssal Dive. That knockup is super impactful. It can be an initiator. It can be an opportunity for the seismic shove from the Talia to then go in for even more CC from the Senna or the Volibear. So if you're able to get away from the initiating CC, Team Ambition Black is going to have a really good time being able to weave around what Glacial Esports is trying to go for. But we won't know until we actually get into the draft. It is or not into the draft, but into the game, because I definitely feel like for both of these teams, execution is going to be key here.
Bringing up execution, I think it's a really important fact, because I think that much more so for GEB than for TAB, their champions are reliant on getting certain things going for them. Particularly the Aatrox is a champion that needs to get some things going for him, especially against a Malphite. Like, Malphite is a matchup that early game is going to be great for you. You're going to have a lot of opportunities. It's going to become harder and harder because Malphite just straight up builds armor and he feels like such an unkillable beast. And against the composition that Glacial Esports has, realistically, building armor this game is going to be marvelous. It's only the Talia that you're really scared of, and even then, you really can survive a lot of the per burst damage because you're just a straight up tank. So I think that it's going to be on the timing, on the execution from GEB much more so. And if we come into 20 minutes with an equal gold lead, I feel like Team Ambition Black is just in such a perfect spot.
I don't even know if we're going to be able to get that, though. I really think that Lee Sin is going to be such an X factor here for Team Ambition. Bottom lane is going to be a little tough for those ganks to actually work, but I don't think that kills are necessarily important here. It's the dragon scaling that you can get with it. Team Ambition Black has been very good all split at being able to get those early objectives in the bottom lane and using those as the priority target to go in for win conditions. You look at their games and you look at their early game matchups, they've had a ton of dragons that they've been able to get, and Glacial Esports Black is the same way. We're looking at around 2.5 dragons per game for both Glacial Esports and Team Ambition. The only difference here, and a little bit concerning because I was looking at the stats while you were talking, is the Heralds per game. Heralds per game is such an interesting stat for this game, especially here in Game 1, because Glacial Esports can and needs to get that gold. 0.46 Heralds per game for Glacial Esports in the regular season. Comparatively to Team Ambition has 1.28, almost triple the amount of Heralds captured in their regular season.
Yeah, that just goes to show how much pressure they have over on that side, or how ahead they typically are that they can just get them so consistently. So it's one of the two, but it certainly shows that they are not willing to give it up just because. Like, they do like the Heralds, and I think that for maybe for compositions that they do like to play much more aggressive early game or things like that, having Herald is ideal. I think that there's times that you need to to give it up if you really don't think that you can win the fight. But I think it just goes to show that Team Ambition Black certainly get most of them and know what to do with them, because that is a way to just snowball leads out of control. And I think that they are certainly a team that will like to try and get a snowball rolling as soon as they can.
Very much so. Very, very much so. But all right, everybody, we are going to take a very quick break, very small break before the start of game number 1. Before we do my favorite part of the match, TDS, I got to ask you, what is going to be the Dragon Rift and Soul here in game 1?
I feel like it's going to be a Hex deck. I have an inkling that Hex deck will come through today.
Mm-hmm. And we have a chance to go for potentially 5 opportunities to be correct with our Dragon Rifts and Souls here today. So a ton of opportunities for at least to get one right. I'm leaning towards an Infernal Soul and Rift here in game 1. Chat, let me know what you guys think the Soul and Rift is going to be here in game number 1. As always, if I see any Chemtech Souls or Rifts, I'm not going to be happy. But with that being said, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back here for game 1 of this quarterfinals matchup. We'll see you guys shortly. Welcome back, everybody. We are here and we are live for game number 1 of this best of 5 series in the Victoris Triumph series. We've got Team Ambition Black going up against Glacial Esports Black in this quarterfinals matchup. As always, we've got, and Magical Cow, our producer, here behind the scenes, making sure that everything is looking pretty and looking phenomenal. So if we can get some thank you cows in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. And as we get ourselves into this game, TDS, it has been a pleasure all split to be able to cast with you. And, you know, I'm really excited to get these playoffs started.
Yeah, it's been really good so far, and hopefully it's going to be even better the longer we go. So hopefully we get good games to represent that. The start of this game, though, not a lot of things happening, which I'm sad of, because I like to see a lot of action, but it is understandable. It's the first game. You don't want to throw anything away. You don't want to force anything without actually needing to, and teams are respecting each other a lot.
Very, very much so. You know, taking a look at the two teams, you've got Mitch Fleury that's going to be playing as the Malphite in the top lane, Castle 7 as the Lee Sin in the jungle, Marks Boots with the Azir, All For One as the Ezreal, and then Turk going to be playing as the Yuumi in the bottom lane. That is your lineup for game one for Team Ambition Black. Looking over on Glacial Esports, though, you've got Popang as the Volibear, Smart as playing as the Aatrox, as Popang going to be in the jungle, Smart as is going to be playing in the top lane, Kaidazor going to be playing as the Talia in the mid lane, we've got Silva and Purple Ninja as the Senna TK bottom lane. That is your lineup for Glacial Esports Black.
Yeah, and things to immediately notice, we do have both junglers starting on the top side, which find it interesting because I thought that Bolivar would want to go towards the Aatrox, try and get him ahead, and then the Lee Sin, obviously, I do think that he wants to go bot side, but the gank setup for bot side is not that great compared to the top side, so it's a little bit interesting watching what they can do, especially on the Lee Sin and on the Bolivar side, but each of the lanes going pretty standard in my opinion, nothing much happening, vision, control from the Talia, a little bit too late, but you do get some information knowing that Lee Sin already did lose, so he must be coming down.
Exactly. You know, there was a little bit of warding, a little bit of vision that is coming through. As you can see, there was that blue buff ward coming in from Popang on the on and against Castle. So they do know that both sides are going to be looking for a bottom lane play, or at least Glacial Esports knows. Don't know if any Team Ambition Black knows at that moment, but vision is going to be so important here for Glacial Esports, especially with the power that the Lee Sin has with being able to really roam around the map. So being able to get any advantage vision-wise is going to be such an impactful part of this game.
Yeah, and I want to see who will have the first onto the Reavers. We talked about Herald control, Dragon control, but also inside of the jungle, the Reavers control, whatever. Ooh, wait.
Oh my god! Okay!
First he didn't trade even!
First Blood gonna come in for Mitch Fleury as the Ignite and Flash are used. Mitch Fleury, the Rock, is rock solid there in the top lane.
I understand the aggressiveness, but that is a 1v1 that you can never lose in your life if you're the Aatrox. Because now the lane is pretty much in the position for the Malphite. It's pushing back, it's pushing into the middle, so it's not a clear advantage for the Aatrox. And Malphite had teleport, Aatrox didn't. So Malphite was able to come at the same time that Aatrox is right now with an item lead. This is really huge for Mitch Fury, and he also still has Flash. The Aatrox doesn't.
That was such a risky play. I'm really, really confused as to why Smart decided to go for that one, because of the, what you said earlier. No teleport for this Aatrox means that they lose a ton of CS. We're able to get back and get that coal, but the important part about that is that now Mitch Fleury, with that extra 400 gold, is able to just immediately shut down Smart and picks up that Bramble Vest.
Yeah, I'm actually interested if it was because of the rune decision here that Smart has decided to go for the dive, because without the comet, you sometimes opt into the comet in this kind of matchups to try and stay equal in terms of damage and what you do. But because he didn't go for the comet instead of going for the phase rush, I think it is the phase rush in this matchup this time, you're now setting up yourself to not take as much damage, but instead to go for certain trades. Lee Sin was seen, I think.
Yeah, Lee Sin was seen just very barely. So maybe the acknowledgement of that as Kaidazor is going to be roaming around as well. Castle knows that the Krugs are taken, but we saw a little bit of a roam from Kaidazor, and probably the communication there was from Mark Boots, do not go for the play because Kaidazor could potentially be there. We are going to see a play, though, finally, as Castle 7 does come in, going to go with the safeguard, going to look to try to go for the slow, and does get the slow. Smart is in trouble, and Mitch Fleury will pick up their second kill of the game.
This is painful for Smartass. Getting both kills taken away, the damage is so effective onto the Aatrox. No flash because he used it to try to go for the previous solo kill. And once again, no teleport. That immense minion wave is going to get lost for the Aatrox. This is so painful for him. I think he does arrive for a couple of them, but it's such a huge wave that you're going to lose anyway.
Yeah, the big change and the big issue from that is that Smart is going to lose that cannon minion, and once again is going to be in a CS kind of deficit here. I mean, for the Malphite, yes, you want to get as much CS as possible, but it's not as impactful as it is for the Aatrox, who decided in that first blood to pick up the
Ooh.
pull. Nice Sonic
here as
Wave
well.
from Castle, not getting hit by the Raptors, and Popeng will fall as well.
Yeah, already loving that we're seeing the Yumi moving around, and Castle, 2 assists already, collapsing onto the Volibear. They didn't know the Volibear was there, but because of the nature of the Yumi, you really don't need to stick to the Ezreal, because Ezreal is just such a great AD carry by himself, and the Yumi is great to move around with junglers like the Lee Sin, like the Talon, that like to move around as much as possible. Oh, mid lane.
Yeah, Kaidazor is going to
That
be
is
in
so
trouble.
big.
You do not get away from that great use of the unstoppable force from Mitch and into the wall from Marks, picking up the 4th kill of the game for Team Ambition.
Malphite did flash, which you can kind of look at that as an opportunity for both the Aatrox and the Volibear to maybe attack top lane, but giving 2 kills already to the Asir, great spot, he's ahead in CS, like you were pointing out with the Malphite. Yes, he's down, but he's 2-0. He doesn't care about the CS, he's a tank as long as he soaks up the damage, gets experience, gets towards those tank items that aren't necessarily the most pricey. You're really good, and the Malphite is super happy at this point in the lane.
Exactly, and this is exactly why you wanted to go for that Malphite, is you have the opportunity to, you know, have that front line.
Oh no!
The minion, the cannon, not the cannon.
That was so sad to watch. As
Yeah.
someone that loses canyons consistently, that's painful to me.
Exactly,
Oh,
but
thing?
we are now looking to be able to go for a play. Kaidazor is on the way and can go in with that Weaver's Wall.
Ooh.
Gonna go for the seismic shove. Nice arcane
Great
shift.
timing.
All for one will be able to survive.
I do think though, this doesn't needs a replay or anything like that, but I think the shove was going towards the Tam Kench and the Senna instead of going towards the rocks. I saw the arrow pointing away, I think. Not sure. I'm not saying that happened. It's just something that I feel I saw.
It was,
Coming
and that
back,
was... Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, coming back, 4-man dive.
Yeah, Kaidazor's gonna go for the Weaver's Wall. The flash is gonna be used. Going to go for the seismic shove, but it misses. All
it's
for
fine.
one will fall. That's going to be 1 and 2 for Popeng.
Yeah, it did miss, but at least it didn't matter at all because the Volibear still had ultimate. Great dive attempt, great respect coming from GEB, knowing that they could go for this kind of play because I feel like they knew that the Lee Sin was topside, so they opted into going for the play on the bot side. Great timing, getting the kill. They did lose mid lane turret, which is I think a pretty big deal, especially giving a lot of gold to the Asir, but I think they needed to go for the play, and I respect the fact that they committed to try and get something out of somewhere.
Getting something out of nothing, and you know, I do want to highlight though how important that responses are in these matches. You know, you go in for that double kill in the bottom lane, you do pick up some gold for Popeng. It's huge, but now we're looking for this response in the top lane. The Dragon's Rage is going to land, and we're going to see if Smartass is going to fall. Smart will fall, Castle will survive, and Mitch doesn't go down. It's a clean kill.
I saw 3 people. I actually didn't know there were 4. I didn't saw the Yumi there. Oh no, all for one.
Oh, for one,
You're
maybe
dead.
in trouble here. Gonna get hit by the full combo here. Is gonna get ignited. Devour is available. And now grounded.
Yep.
All for one will fall. And Purple Ninja will sneak away a kill.
Balance. But yeah, great kill coming in from the Tam Kench. Just so it's like just walking forward, killing the AD carry like it was nothing and igniting. Great job and responding to a play on the top side that was really well played for the side of TAB. GEB are not totally falling behind in terms of what they are doing because they are getting advantages back, which I think it's nice. But I think the pacing of the game is so in favor of TAB. Their composition will scale better, will get so much value in the late game, and they are just doing perfectly to try and get the game to a spot that they want to. This is so sad coming from Mark. It's just completely attacking pooping on the side.
Exactly, and folks, I do read, I do recommend, I do recognize we are having a couple of issues on the spectator. We appreciate your guys' patience with that. We'll go ahead and get those gold graphs updated as soon as possible, as well as the rosters swapped. Of course, Glacial Esports Black roster currently on the left, and the right roster over on the wrong side. We'll get those swapped as soon as possible. But with that being said, we are going to see another play here in the top lane, as we do get another great Sonic Wave from Castle. Turk is on the way with that Yuumi, going to be able to get the lost chapter onto Popeng, and that's going to be Popeng rooted, maybe in trouble here or not. The Sonic Wave's going to land, and despite the Stormbringer, it's a double kill for the Lee Sin. Castle is maybe looking for more, though. Is it going to be hit by the rocks? That will be enough to drop him. Kaidazor's going to be able to pick up that kill, but now Mark Boots is on the way to make the play happen. There's the knockup. Mitch surviving! Turk is a guardian cat and will make sure that the rock does not get crumbled.
The heal is just enough to get the kill. Now, I'm surprised that everything just worked out barely for GEB. They got 2 kills previously. The kill to the Lee Sin felt like it was almost not going to happen at all. But great for the Talia to get the kill, at least to get something back. They are still losing on the top side. They are taking so much damage. And this attempt at getting gold back, which I think it's justifiable, they are getting something back on the bot side. It's still not enough. Like, Israel is completely fine by himself. I think he's top AE.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's fine.
Yeah, Ezreal should be still okay unless he goes into a brush and checks Purple Ninja there. Ocean Drake does get taken, and you know what, TDS? For the first time in forever, I'm correct in our first game. The Infernal Soul and Rift is going to be available and seen. There we go. That's what we like to see. Cow, if you could do us a quick favor and show us the gold really quick, we can kind of see where all the players are at. Currently, we've got Mark Boots, which is going to be a big problem. 131 CS, just picked up another kill off screen in the top lane.
Can we look at the supports?
7,400 gold.
Can we look at both the supports? Although Divatem coming here, but yeah, Ezreal is doing the smart thing running away. I want to look at the gold difference between both supports, because Yuumi is ahead of the Ezreal. Yuumi is 200 gold ahead of the 80 carry.
Alright.
Oh no.
But we're not done yet. Kaidazor's going to be in trouble here, as he's going to get hit by all the damage, and Castle will pick up their 3rd kill of the game. Now 3-1 and 4.
And Yumi's farther ahead of his 80 carry still, thanks to that kill. That is not something that we typically see. Great kill that they get onto the top lane, onto the mid laner once again on the side of GEB. And it feels kind of harsh, because GEB, I don't think it's doing completely wrong stuff. They are answering on the opposite side of the map to plays that are happening on the top side, right? That's the basic of basic in League of Legends. If something is happening on one side, you have to respond on the other side. But the responses are so weak in comparison to what TB is getting. TB got 2 turrets in the top side, plus 1 in the mid, plus the inner mid lane turret, plus a kill. GEB just got a turret in the bot lane. That's it. So the responses are not wrong. It's just that they are not comparable, which is kind of sad for GEB.
Exactly. And that's the big issue right now, is despite Glacial Esports going in for these plays, Team Ambition Black has been able to make responses across the Rift. While you were talking about your analysis, they're able to pick up the mid lane tier 2 tower. That opens up so much of the jungle for Team Ambition, and they are going to look to continue to keep that pressure going. And that is the name of the game here for Team Ambition. It is tempo, and it is pressure. Popeng kind of making an illegal move, trying to go in for that red buff without the support of his mid laner. But now Kaidazor is on the way. Will it be enough to be able to pick up a kill? Mitch Fleury is going to die. All for One is going to be next. The Ezreal's caught out of position, and yes, it will be enough for Glacial Esports to pick up 2.
Yeah, great punishment, and the main difference, who reaches what first? 4 members of GEB were in place first before the play came in from Mitch Fleury, which I think is the main difference maker. The Azir was on top side alone, which means that they couldn't really go for this. I'm not sure about this. Listen is actually okay.
Yeah,
no,
Castle
3 members
going to be
again.
in trouble here, as teleport is going to be used. Already the Dragon Rage coming in as Purple Ninja goes in for the Abyssal Dive. Maybe going to be in trouble as the Seismic Shove misses. Mark Boots will be forced to flash away. Going to be using the Emperor's Divide as we get another teleport from Mitch. Does not have the teleport, but it is going to be Purple Ninja going down. Popeng is going to be next. The Dawning Shadows will take down Mark Boots. That's going to be smart. Going to take down Castle. That is 2 for 1 so far, as Mitch Fleury going to be potentially the next target and be forced to flash away. All for One is here, but it's not going to be enough, and that is 2 kills for 1.
Yeah, misplayed coming from the side of TAB, forcing the fight, thinking that with their lead they can play this, but they are playing into numbers disadvantage. You never win fights that you don't have the numbers advantage. Great team fight by GEB, coming in to try and turn around a certain situation. They were playing with champions without certain mythics, and the fact that they were able to get the victory in that, it's really, really important. Putting themselves into a good, at least gold spot coming back a little bit so that they can come into the Dragon fight. Like we see right now, it's 30,000 for TAB, 28,000 for GEB, but the gold lead is not higher than it could have been in reality.
Exactly, and that's the big part of here. We got a mid-game spike coming in from Glacial Esports, or at least a mid-game rebound coming in from Glacial Esports. I would have to say at one point it was probably a 3 to 4K advantage for Team Ambition, but those plays in the mid lane have been disastrous for Team Ambition, and they have allowed for Glacial Esports to come back into this game. The Dragons are even, the Rift Heralds are even, and with 30 seconds remaining until this Infernal Drake spawns, it is anybody's game.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I still think that TAB, with the lead that they have, particularly having the Azir be so strong, if they don't get immediately engaged them, like if they have time to just prep for the Azir to do damage, I think that it's still really, really hard to try and get towards the backline. The Emperor's Divide is a thing that you can play with. Yumi Ultimate as well, the Unsealed Spellbook, I think the Unsealed Chapter, I think it is. The
Final Chapter.
Its Final Chapter is still a really great disengage tool. You have the kick from the Lee Sin.
Okay, well, we're going to be getting away here really quickly as the fight could potentially begin momentarily. Yeah. The Sky Splitter is going to get dropped, and Silva's going to be taking a little bit of poke damage. Remember, Team Ambition's Black composition with All For One and Mark Boots have the opportunity to poke down some of these really squishy players from a distance and could use that as the opportunity to go in for the play. As we do get the Weaver's Wall used. Not going to be available for the next fight as the Dragon now has begun. About 3,000 HP left on him. Mitch Flurry is going to be going in for the flank. Maybe looking to be going in for an Unstoppable Force as the Dragon will get taken by Popeng. The Unstoppable Force will be missed. Kaidazor will not get hit by it. And now the Seismic Shove. Mitch Flurry is going to be caught out of position. Going to maybe be in trouble. The Dawning Shadows will keep Purple Ninja alive. The Emperor's Divide is coming in. Castle is going to go in with a Sonic Wave, but it's not going to be enough. Popeng is still alive. Kaidazor is still alive. Mark Boots is trying to be able to do what he can as Kaidazor goes golden. We've got Popeng, Purple Ninja, and Kaidazor with less than 25% HP. None of them go down.
It makes absolutely no sense. Had nobody from GEB died, not even the Bolivar at the end. They tried to go for the contest once again into that fight. Malphite misses miserably the ultimate, and that fight becomes harder and harder to fight for TAB. The important thing, I think, for this fight as a whole, how it happened, is the lack of damage that the Ezreal at the end does. I feel like he barely did a lot of damage to make it up in that fight, and then the Azir didn't get enough damage down on his side. Not because he couldn't, not because he didn't want to, but because he couldn't. A lot of his damage was getting lost because he was getting pushed to the side without really achieving much, and I think that was such a huge, crucial factor in how GEB ended up winning the fight.
And with that, Glacial Esports has committedly and inevitably taken the gold lead away from Team Ambition. It is only a 600 gold advantage for the blue side here at the 19-minute mark. Baron is spawning in a minute, but this has been a very, very fast-paced game. Despite all of that, Silva, playing as the Senna, has been playing really, really well in the support center role. 1-0-6 with the Umbral Glaive unlocked, very close to being able to pick up that Eclipse, is doing a great job at staying alive and shielding their team with those Dawning Shadows. It was a main factor in why so many members of Glacial Esports were able to survive that last exchange.
Yep, ironically, I think she should have died. Oh, Mitch Fury is in such a bad spot.
In trouble here, going to be using the Unstoppable Force. We get a ton of damage on a Kaidazor. Kaidazor, once again, is going to be the target with the Devour from Purple Ninja. Will be able to keep the Talia alive, and Mitch Flurry will be able to walk away.
It was the Devour and heal from the Senna coming in, so all in all, it's not a bad trade for TAB. They just used 2 ultimates. I don't count the Ezreal as much because Ezreal is Ezreal, but it's 2. This is super bad. Ezreal,
yeah, All For One's gonna get hit by the Sky Splitter. Gonna go down. Popeng's gonna pick up another kill. Gonna be on a killing spree as a great use of the Stormbringer. Popeng's gonna be able to shut down the turret, and he does not go down once again. Teleport from Mitch Flurry is wasted.
TAB is getting completely outplayed, and I think I have to point fingers here. All For One is not performing. 0-4, he's getting collapsed. They are getting baited into plays that are really not necessary to happen. And first it started with the mid lane fight that they lost so clearly. Now it's happening with these fights. They are losing way too many fights that realistically don't need to happen at all. They need to be careful here once again. This could be, if someone else dies, can be Baron.
Yeah, remember though that this is still a composition with Mark Boots as this Azir that is going to be able to deal tons of damage the longer that this game goes on. Despite that though, Kaidazor is playing a very similar composition with that Everfrost build going into that Zhonya's Hourglass, going to be very protected as that semi-pseudo frontline power battle mage. It's going to be a really big battle between Kaidazor and Mark Boots as we get to take a look at some of the massive fights that we've seen. We got a replay coming up.
Yeah, and pretty sure, I think it's going to be, yeah, the one from the mid lane. This is an interesting situation here because the Malphite was getting collapsed from both sides. I think it's smart enough going here to try and get the ultimate out and try and get something out of this bad situation that it was looking at. But because, first of all, the Yuumi is on the Seer, so the range from the Unsealed, the Lost Chapter, it's not as great as it could have been. And then also the position of the carries doing damage wasn't great. That's why at the end they didn't get anything out of that fight. And here over one, I think you have to E away from that thing, not from the stun from the Senna, not away after you get stunned because you're just putting yourself to die. Also, Baron is going on in live.
Yeah, I gotta talk about that right now because Baron's gonna come through as well as the Weaver's Wall. About 1,000 HP left on the Baron, and it's stolen! It's gonna be Popeng being able to take the Baron, and Kaidazor is gonna be taking down the Lee Sin. Castle is dead. Turk is gonna be able to go into Mark Boots as they're looking to escape. Mark Boots will survive. Mitch Fleury is gonna be able to get away, but Baron is stolen, and Glacial Esports have taken control of the Rift.
TAB is throwing in a way that I'm super surprised. Great to GEB. Stealing the Baron is super important here for them because I don't think that they can play the later stage of the game. They have to win the game in 25 to 29 minutes because I think that apart from the Senna, everyone else can just be doomed. But they are getting the objectives. They are outplaying TAB in such a manner that is actually surprising to see. This is TAB is the first seed and they are getting completely outpaced by GEB after minute 15.
Huge plays once again for Glacial Esports Black as we get to see another replay. Popeng with that great steal on the Baron. Oh, wait, never mind.
Ooh.
We don't have it yet.
Okay.
Pardon me, I'm getting ahead of myself. But regardless of that, though, looking at the gold, looking at the advantages, Team Ambition Black has completely dropped the ball here in the mid to late game. We now get to see that Baron play.
Yeah, we're watching the Baron. You still are doing the damage with the Seer. It's just mistiming. This is just a complete and utter misplay coming in from the side of TAB. The Emperor's Divide is awful. The timing in this might is awful. It feels like they are just not communicating well enough today. They are not doing anything in the right timing to really showcase that they're the #1 seed so far. And it's on GEB really just playing better.
Sure is, and Cow is communicating to us right now that it was a blind steal from Popeng.
It's even worse.
No vision
worse
on it at that time. It's really incredible to see. But with that being said, though, Baron is going to be up for about a minute. What have they been able to get with that Baron? It is very little so far. They've been able to get a couple of advantages on the Rift, but not really too much, as Castle's maybe going to be in trouble, going to be able to use a safeguard to get away. Nice seismic shove, and Kaidazor will take a kill against Mark Boots.
Yeah, still didn't have flash. And this is going towards, once again, over positioning for something that it's not yours. With Baron, you were pointing out, Baron is going to run out in 1 minute. They weren't getting anything. You can give this turret. This turret is meaningless. But now they are going to lose Inhibitor potentially for trying to stay in a side lane because, I don't know. I really don't have reasons to say there was no reason. Now they're losing base. They can even push harder because they didn't commit a lot of things, which I think could be a thing that GEB does up to, not really the case. Smart decision here as well, not opting to overcommit, don't want to throw away the lead like TAB has been doing, and instead just trying to respect the fact that TAB can turn around if the Seer comes back soon enough.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big part about this, though. It is a 50 CS advantage for Mark Boots on the Azir, going to be able to just pick up all the gold in the top lane now. Well, that inhibitor is down. It's down for another 4.5 minutes. That's going to mean that inhibitor will be down for when the Baron spawns in 2:45 and when the Infernal Drake spawns in 2:30. So that is something that we got to be looking at here. The teleport advantage for Team Ambition Black is going to have to be on point because they can navigate this really well, but I mean, I have to agree with you here. Team Ambition Black has not been playing a solid game in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes even.
Yeah, I would say after the three towers on the top side went down, I feel like that Team Ambition Black has really been looking bad. Like after the fact it's been going downhill from that point, and it's kept that it's been looking greater and greater. The Senna with 139.
Okay, we're going to get the
Oh,
initiation.
full
Another great
switch.
flash from Silva as he's able to avoid the unstoppable force. Teleports are going to come through, and Kaidazor is potentially going to be the target as we get a ton of damage onto Mitch. The Abyssal Dive's going to land onto All For One, who's trying to be able to survive and does survive, but it's another great devour from Purple Ninja to keep Kaidazor in the fight. All
Aatrox
For
is
One is
coming.
going to
This is
fall to
it.
Silva,
They're
and now
losing.
Smart As is on the way. Polpang is still alive. The Stormbreaker is going to come through. It's going to be Castle trying to be able to get out of this one, but Purple Ninja will take another victim as Silva's going to be able to take two in this fight. Mark Boots is now going to be
Has
the
no
next
flash.
target, trying to keep Turk alive as well. Purple Ninja is on pursuit. Mark Boots is now in a potential 1v4 situation, but it's actually not going to be the case. Mitch Flurry is the target. Kaidazor is going to go golden to try to survive, but finds a seismic shove, and that might just be game. There is nobody to defend the base. Mark Boots is trying to be able to get back, to save his Nexus, but it is not going to be in time. It is going to be Glacial Esports Black that takes game number 1 in this quarterfinal.
Credit to Becky. He called it out and it's working out for him. At least GEB will get one game. So far, he's right. They got one game. Could be the case that they get more. But like the difference between TAB before 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes was so huge. Like I cannot say enough how bad it looked for them in so many instances of that game. One part of me is glad that they lost with Lee Sin because at least now they can. A lot of people can open their eyes and see how bad this champion is. It doesn't matter if you're good or not. If you don't win by 10 minutes, guess what? You're useless, but useless to such a huge degree that it's incomprehensible. And yep, that is just the case in this game. Huge grade to bot lane from the side of Cap. They got the resources, they got the gold, and they carried with that. You were talking about Silva, I'm pretty sure, around the 20-minute mark, and he delivered, doing so much in this game, doing a lot of damage. Tamkench as well, Purple Ninja, doing so much this game. Full credit to the bot lane from Gap.
An absolute catastrophe for Team Ambition Black. They had 2 extra bans. They had blue side, which means they got first pick, and they had advantages in the top lane that should have given them enough of a momentum to be able to take the game. But definitely a shout out to Silva here and to Purple Ninja. 3-0-11 on this Senna, 2-1-7 on Purple Ninja with that TK, and it really highlights that just because you are first seed doesn't mean that you are guaranteed a spot in the semifinals, doesn't mean that you're guaranteed a spot in the finals. And now Team Ambition Black should be worried because that was a slaughter, and Glacial Esports Black delivered here in game 1.
Yeah, I think at least for TAB, the positives that you can see certainly are on the bright side. The first 10 to 15 minutes weren't bad. They were in control of the game. They had a really good early game lead. They were smashing the top side of the map really effectively. It's just the after fact that they didn't really have any control. And you have to criticize this time the bot side for Team Ambition Black because All For One and Turk, they were like Turk at least was moving around the map and he was trying to achieve something on the other side. But All For One, you're left alone. You know that you're going to be the point of attack for the side of Gap because of what is happening on the top side. Didn't respect that, completely fell behind, didn't achieve much, and was the weakest point of this game. Like, Mark Boots can deal damage, but you're lacking another damage dealer on the side of Team Ambition Black because Malphite is not going to be that. And a lot of the fights they were losing was because they were lacking that little bit of damage more that they were missing.
Mm-hmm. I want to take it to a quick break. After we get back from that break, I think we'll bring Becky Rita back in here. We'll get ready for game number 2.
Okay.
But we have so much to talk about this game because it is so indicative of what could potentially be the outcome of this series. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get ourselves up for game number 2. And when we return, we're going to continue this series. So we'll be right back.
honestly, try honesty. No, just tell me what I want to hear, 'cause it could save us. Let me fly, I've got my hopes, but I can hardly see why I'm still chasing. It's not worth it for me anymore. Crashed and burned 100 times, I'm lost. I just can't let this go. Every last chance I had is gone, but I just can't let you know. I just can't let you know. But I just can't let you know.
Welcome back, everybody. And that game one between Glacial Esports and Team Ambition Black. Glacial Esports surprising everybody but me and taking
Sure.
a single game, or their first game even, off of Team Ambition Black. And I gotta ask, does this first game indicate a potential win from Glacial Esports, or are we still leaning towards Team Ambition Black?
I'm still leaning towards Team Ambition Black. I still am. I think it was still a limit. I think this was a little bit of a limit test here for Team Ambition.
Okay.
Going in for the Azir B1 was like definitely a raised eyebrow moment. Azir is, a strong champion and can perform well in the right case, and I don't think that Mark Boots played poorly, but it's not a contested pick, and you should have gone for something that you knew that you wanted that wasn't going to get picked. I mean, when was the last time anyone saw Azir in Season 12? It's not really seen, so... Well, I guess you saw it earlier today, so I should stand corrected, but regardless, besides the point.
Yeah, no, there was we've seen some Azir, but it's definitely an uncommon pick and not something you should be picking first because it'll never get picked away and it'll never get banned unless you're like an Azir one trick, and even then it might still get through. I'm not sure what the Azir B1 was about. Like it has to have been just plain old disrespect. That's what it feels like to me. Just some plain old disrespect. Not, but hey, maybe it was just they might know something I don't. TDS, what is your take on this? Are you still feeling Team Ambition?
Oh yeah, I think they're going to still win.
Okay.
I would, if they lose second game, I'll begin sweating a little bit. But I still think TAB should be the overall better team. Now, I think draft was a problem certainly, but you can never discount just bad play overall. And I think that TAB played badly. Like even with the cards they were given, they played badly a lot of the instances of that game. So I think that the draft could improve, but I also think that it wasn't a super horrible draft that it wasn't playable. Because I do think that with the lead that they had, the thing for me is that they had a lead. They had a lead early on in the game, and I don't think it was a bad lead either. They had so much control over the top side. Bot lane should have not died in the ways that they did, but was still manageable because it's an Ezreal. You can find value with him, even if you really don't care. The problem is that they played so many things so badly that it just meant that they were going to be behind so many times. And the Baron buff was the cherry on top, because if they losing that Baron there was just going to mean that they were going to have absolutely no control over anything in the map anymore, at least until the Baron buff is down. And they never had. They were controlled, and they immediately lose the game after that. So I feel like, apart from giving credit to GEB for playing better after the 15-minute mark, TAB has to step up their game. I hope they step up their drafting as well, but their game needs to be stepped up, and I think that in game 2 they are going to come in better.
Yeah, I think that this Team Ambition to take it as a wake-up call, play smarter, draft better, and showcase why you're undefeated. Because if you go down 2 games in the quarterfinals, what does that mean for the rest of your group? Oh boy, oh boy. Well, the draft is currently going on, so I'll throw it over to you two, and you can break down what we're looking at. So take it away.
Thank you very much, Becky Rita, as it looks like we are now ready, like you said, to begin game number 2 of this best of 5 series. Now remember that it is a best of 5. Team Ambition Black is going to go back to blue side, but in this game, Glacial Esports is going to get their 2 bans back. And so looking at the bans here in game number 1, the Senna is going to get banned out along with the Anivia and the Kindred. The Wukong and the Seraphine are getting taken away as well.
Which was the Senna ban in the previous game? The ban for it, that it's now the Senna, which was it in the previous game? I'm not 100% sure. Fiora? Okay. Yep. Interesting that they opted to ban Fiora in the previous game. I get the Senna, obviously now we saw the power, and it also, I think, shows that Team Ambition Black doesn't have priority for the Senna. Because if with the Seraphine banned away, with you having blue side, you would be the one that would opt for the Senna, instead opting once again for the Azir. As a B1 pick, it makes no sense to me. I do think the champion is fine to pick it, but B1, I feel like there's other options. But it's true that Senna and Seraphine are banned away, so maybe they think that there's other things that would be taken away if you opt into the Azir this time around.
I know probably people on the screen saw my eye roll. I completely disagree with this decision. I'm going to tell you right now, I completely disagree with this decision. It is not bad. It wasn't bad. But now you know that Taliyah can combat it. And so they immediately say, okay, we're just going to go with the Taliyah here. And the Taliyah can now go into the jungle if they wanted to. If they don't pick an early game jungler, Taliyah can go into the jungle and then go for another hard counter in the mid lane. Or you can go for just the Taliyah in the mid lane and be just fine. And so we're going to see a complete repeat for Glacial Esports. The Taliyah and the Volibear are going to get locked in.
So this pretty much tells you, well, no, actually, there's still flex potential because Volibear can go top lane. But yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure it's going to be towards a jungle and mid lane. Olaf being hovered here, I was thinking Viego could be an option just because I think Viego is still a super strong jungler that you can play with. But opting for Olaf and Karma, I actually like that they are going for this combo. Even if it's not, if the Olaf is not top lane or jungle, Olaf can be flex in both positions as well. Having the Karma to boost you up, I think it's a super good idea. So I really like that they are opting for this combo. And in teamfights, you can find quite a lot of value with this pair. And the Fiora getting picked here, it was one away for a reason. Certainly Smartest would love to play this champion. And now having bans coming in from GEB as well can potentially take from some of the better picks that can go against this Fiora.
So Fiora does get locked in here for Glacial Esports. They did not want to give that opportunity for Team Ambition to ban it in the second round. So we're going to get to see why it was potentially banned in game 1, and the Malphite is going to get taken away. I think that Flurry played well on the Malphite. Definitely was able to win the 1v1, as we saw, but taking that away is going to deny some of those initiating opportunities that they had. Now remember, it was the Malphite Yuumi that was that potential wombo combo that was used, but unfortunately in game 1, Flurry was never able to get those impactful, unstoppable forces that he needed to get to secure those kills.
Yeah, it felt like every time that he wanted to go for those, Flash was always up, obviously, and never really got the huge amount of value that you want to see from the Malphite. Now, namely, he did try in a lot of instances, and sadly, the moment that his ultimates were going to be much more impactful or could find value, there was never follow-up either to make it valuable. So I think that there was a huge amount of things mixed in that made the pick a little bit worse than it could have been actually. Now, a lot of attention towards tanks inside of the top lane of the jungle and top lane with the Malphite and the Sejuani as well. And on the other side, it's AD carries that are getting banned away. I think this Olaf could potentially be top lane. You can play this against the Fiora. You can win the matchup. I've seen it played, and I think it can be quite good against the Fiora. So I wouldn't be surprised if this goes into the top lane. So that could be a reason why the Sejuani is getting banned away, maybe towards having a tank jungler in that sense.
Exactly. I completely agree. You know, you can put the Olaf in the top lane, but for Glacial Esports, they're looking to take away some of the high impact ADCs that Silva could potentially go for with the Jhin and the Zeri. Now, there are still a couple of options that are going to be available. The Ezreal is going to be online, but with the Karma picked, the opportunity for All For One deciding to go for that Ezreal is definitely something that we should be thinking about. And so Glacial Esports does have to pick up someone in their bottom lane, and it's going to be to support the Renata is going to get chosen.
So Renata coming in here, you have the ultimate from her to deny some of the damage from certain champions. It doesn't work out with the Olaf, which I think it's an issue that can maybe affect in later stages of the game, in later stage fights, when Olaf will try and run you over. But apart from that, I think that other champions will certainly get affected by this, and you can get a lot of benefit. This would be a really interesting pick to come through for All For One, and I think based on what we saw in the previous game with the Ezreal performance, I would like to see a little bit more from All For One. The Bane gets confirmed, so I'm really excited to see how he does perform, and I think that this can be a good game to bring it out, because you need to kind of have a better performance from All For One. He needs to have a staple performance to try and put the foot down and say that game was just enough kind of game. I'm going to perform way better, and I'm going to win the game for you this time around with this Bane.
Exactly, and you do have the opportunity to really capitalize on a lot of the walls and a lot of the terrain that is going to be built up here from the Azir and the Emperor's Divide and the Weaver's Wall from the Talia. You have the opportunity to go in for a nice condemn, and if you do get that condemn, you can make plays happen. But yeah, I've seen Renata get paired up with Jinx to great effect. It is so powerful and it is so impactful, and it could be the pickup here. That's like my blind prediction, is that we could see a Jinx here for this play, but really there are a ton of ADCs that can get paired up here with that Renata. Glacial Esports Black with 1 second remaining on the timer, deciding to go with the Kog'Maw, another strong pickup, because you get that extra movement speed and that attack speed, both things that Kog'Maw want to get in and stay in range.
I feel like you could even opt for Kog'Maw with the Ghost this time around to try and just keep the pressure up with the auto attacks and have as much pressure as possible. The only thing is that I think that you can get punished by the Bane and the Karma, particularly with their poking damage. Kog'Maw kind of plays with that timing of his W to try and maximize damage as much as possible, right? And I feel like if Karma and Bane just outright out-poke you or out-damage you in some of these traits, it can be quite harsh on the Kog'Maw. So I think that we're going to see once again Popen coming down into the bot lane, try and get as much possible. I would even like to see an early gank coming in from the Bolivar, if possible, a level 2 gank to try and uproot the bot lane, so that then you can put pressure on the other side of the map, or keep on trying to make this Kog'Maw scale, because I feel like this is such a pick that if you let it go untouched or and followed maybe by Poping, it can be quite dangerous. Like, you want to make the Kog'Maw carry.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you can put in so much power with this Kog'Maw. I was just looking it up right now. Bailout with that extra attack speed and movement speed, and being able to survive to be able to then get those extra little bit of damage to be able to secure that kill. I really do think that the Renata Kog'Maw is going to have a really, really good time here in this bottom lane, and it's going to be up to All For One and Turk to show us, you know, why I thought that they were a really strong dynamic duo there in the bottom lane. And this is the opportunity for them to make that happen. Like you said, I do think that All For One needs to have a statement game here. I think they have the opportunity to do it. You've got a little bit of protection for the Vayne with the Shen. You've got shielding from the Karma, so you're going to have that Enchanter support that's going to get stronger as the game goes on. And you got the Olaf that is going to be able to continue to be able to deal damage and potentially get to that backline and take away the Kog'Maw or the Taliyah before they can really start to become an issue. So really, I think for both teams, once again, my big question mark is that Azir in the B1 pick. Is it going to be effective in game 2? Is it going to be effective enough to be a B1 pick for Team Ambition Black? I think is really the big question that's on my mind and probably on your mind and a bunch of other people's mind as well. But with that being said, though, TDS, I got to ask you once again, what do you think the Dragon Soul and Rift is going to be here for game number 2?
Ooh, last time it was Infernal. I think Mountain would be good this time. I feel like Mountain resistances, shielding, it's going to come in handy this time around.
The first dragon that came into my head was Cloud. So I'm going to say a Cloud Soul and Rift here for game number 2. And, you know, this could be potentially a big turning point for this game. If Glacial Esports is able to go up 2-0 against Team Ambition Black, the chances for it to be a reverse 3-0 are definitely going to be a lot harder for TAB, but not impossible. So very exciting to see what Team Ambition Black is going to be able to do here in game number 2. Chat, let me know what you guys think the Soul and Rift is going to be for this game. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we do, this game 2 of the quarterfinals in the Victoris Triumph Series will begin. We'll be right back.
Heaven sent an angel. Heaven sent an angel. Never give up hope. I always believed there was someone out there to fill the hole inside of me. I've been looking for love. Going on hate or you must have heard my song. 'Cause heaven sent an angel.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and seeking human victims.
Welcome back, everybody. We are live for game number 2 of this best of 5 series in quarterfinals of the Victoris Triumph series. My name is Moose, and I am joined here at the caster desk by TDS, and of course, we've got A and Magical Cow as our producer. Now, TDS, game number 1 was definitely surprising, and game number 2 shouldn't disappoint.
Yeah, a victory coming out of nowhere from GEB, but certainly a deserved one with how they played. And now coming into this game to try and get an even better advantage against TAB. I think they have a draft that feels similar to their previous game draft, and I think that they can perform on it. One quick question that I have though is, did Kitty Asura not play with a skin last game? Because I feel like he was. So playing with, he has the normal skin now. So I'm kind of surprised that he didn't opt into the one that he used in the previous game.
I'm not sure, but you know what? Regardless of that, we've got probably one of the best skins in the game with Bima coming in
True.
and going to be available. But let's take a look at these two teams and their rosters. Team Ambition Black with Mitch as the Shen. Castle going to be playing as that Olaf in the jungle. Mark Boots with the Azir in the mid lane. All for one, going with that Flash Exhaust Vayne. And then Turk with the Flash Ignite Karma in the bottom lane. That is your roster for Team Ambition Black. Now over on the side for Glacial Esports Black, you've got Smart Az going to be playing as that Fiora in the top lane. Kapopan going to be playing as a Volibear in the jungle. Kaidazor as the Talia with Silva and Sly Lego going to be playing as that Kog'Maw Renata in the bottom lane. That is your roster for Glacial Esports Black here in Game 2. And let's get started.
Yeah, they're starting with the action early from the side of TAB, poking onto this Kog'Maw like we talked about. I think that this is one of the strengths that you can take advantage of from the side of TAB. Go on the attack, go on the aggression, try and get as much damage as you can onto the Kog'Maw, and they are doing just that.
Yeah, putting in a lot of trading across the rift. Sly Lego's going to be the target here, as Turk will get in a little bit of damage thanks to that Inner Flame. Silva as well, looking to be able to do what they can, but a nice use of the Silver Bolts. All for one, getting that trade.
Yeah, nice damage coming in. Importantly, look at the minimap. Talia moving herself towards the bot lane, taking advantage of the push that she got in the mid lane, but nicely sniffed out by TAP. They pinged out that Talia wasn't on the side, so I like that they are respecting the fact of that Talia potential down there.
Exactly, and now going to be able to come back. I mean, that's the power of the Talia changes. You're able to just really move around the rift really effectively.
Oh, no, she missed.
That's another one. Another one. Cal's really on point with these cannon misses so far. It's been a theme that we've been talking about, but I want to talk about some of the runes that we've been seeing. Got the minion dematerializer for both Mark Boots and Kaidazor, looking to be able to get that pushing power enhanced with using those materializers on those minions and getting that advantage in damage.
Yeah, as a mid laner, you always feel like that rune particularly allows you to push faster and move around. And mid lane, typically, as long as you can move around fast enough so that you can collapse into your lanes because of it being in the middle of the map, you have to be ready to access that kind of rotation as soon as possible. And I think that that's why Minion Dematerializer is such a good rune to have, especially if you're opting for a side of the rune setup that allows for you to get it immediately. And since they're both taking the I always forget the name of this one, the one that took that replaced the old gold generation rune. I always forget. First strike. Yeah, first strike. Since they are opting both for first strike, it's just so easy to go towards the minion dematerializer side as well.
Yep, exactly. And that's something that we got to be looking at here as we move into potentially our first major objective spawning in about 30 seconds. It is going to be that Ocean Drake, so no Ocean Drake here for game 2. Keeping our chances of potentially a Mountain or
both of us
a
still
Cloud
alive,
Rift
right?
alive. Yep, we're still good. And also we saw the Mountain Drake prediction from Becky as well, so a lot of opportunity there. We're going to get our first gank of the game, though. Popang playing as that Volibear does have that advantage to potentially go for something here in the bottom lane. Turk and 0 for 1. I've got to be careful, and maybe I've sniffed out that a play is on the way with the minions and the wave pushing towards them. Lego and Silva looking to be able to finish that wave out. It will be finished, and it looks like it is not going to be a play. Team Ambition Black will survive to live another day.
Yeah, respect from the side of Team Ambition Black, not opting super aggressively for the play. Now going for it, though. Bolivar may be coming. Yep,
the Sky Splitter is going to come through, but good reaction and patient hands from 0 for 1 and Turk, neither of them using Flash.
Yeah, and if Bolivar forces a flash into the turret, if not on top of all for 1, you can actually utilize the E from the Bane to knock it into the turret if you're positioned well enough, and that could be just a kill for TAB. So I think that they are not only respecting the fact that the gang could have come through, but also knowing that they can have the upper hand with how close it was to turret as well. So really nice play by the bot lane from TAB. Oh.
All right, Mark Boot's going to get a little bit of damage on Kaidazor with that Emperor's Divide, but now Castle is on the way. Trying to get slowed, and Kaidazor is going to be taking a ton of damage, and the Flash is going to come through. Castle's going to get hit by the Sky Splitter, and that will be first blood going over to Kaidazor.
I have two really important questions in that play for Castle. First of all, why come in from the side of the jungle, of your side of the map? You had a ping ward in the bush. You know that you can come in from there without really getting spotted. So not respecting that fact. And second of all, you know that they are coming off of a reset because your bot lane just pushed them out of place. So you know that the Bolivar can be in position to respond. With Ragnarok, I can see that play working out. Oh, okay. That was close.
Smart gonna have to use Flash after getting hit by that taunt. Tried to go in for the parry, but it just did not work out. And that kill onto Castle has a cascading effect immediately, going over to the Dragon and picking that one up at around 6.5 minutes. I do believe we got a Hex Tech Dragon coming up for number 2, as we do have that replay ready of that first blood.
Yeah, and like the questions that I'm asking onto Castle really important. We're getting a perfect look at the top lane a little bit, but yeah, the mid lane play happening on the side, which it starts with this kind of force from Mark Boots and then falling in. But if you're on the side of Castle, it feels like this is the quickest way, but this just sets you up to really be in a bad spot. Hoping just flashes in. With Ragnarok, this play is great, but without Ragnarok, you're just setting up to die at almost every other point, and that's what ends up happening.
Exactly. You do not have Flash. You do force out the Flash from Popang and Kaidazor for that kill, and so maybe that's a chance for that opportunity to reset. But unfortunately, that isn't going to be the case that time, and it ends up being Castle falling and giving that 400 gold over to Kaidazor, actually picking up that Dark Seal in a back, so being able to stack that up as well. So a good play there and an opportunity. Thank you so much, Empowered Gaming community. Loving the Empowered Gaming community squad with their raid. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Really quickly talking about the this quarterfinals matchup. We are casting Team Ambition Black, the first seed of this squad in Group B, going up against Glacial Esports, the 4th seed of Group A. And now we're going to get a play. We got another Sky Splitter into Stormbringer. Popang is going to be able to take that kill, and now Mitch Fleury is going to be in trouble, going to be forced to flash away, but will survive.
Castle is misplaying so badly these fights, and It's only Olaf because they are forcing the fight to happen in top lane, and against the Fiora, I can see them winning it. But first of all, you have the item deficit on the Shen, so it's not going to be as effective as if it was a normal fight. And then importantly, Castle throwing the axe way too far forward. I think if we see the replay, there's going to be shown that where the axe is getting thrown by Castle, and the position is awful because with the Ragnarok you cannot reset the axe at that point because it's way too far forward. It's over at the turret, and then as soon as the Bolivar arrives, it's easy for them to be able to collapse onto Castle. So just I think massive misplays coming in from the jungle of GEB.
Yeah, I mean, this is not how a first stage should be performing. Like, this is just some really questionable plays coming in, and we're going to see that questionable play once again in our next replay.
Yeah. Looking for it now with the replay. They first of all, they know that the Shen was setting up for something because he's waiting on a ward. Now, they don't know that the Olaf is coming, but he should be smelled out here, especially because he's just walking through the lane. No ghost either. Ragnarok was used, and look at the position of the axe. Doesn't go to try and reset it, tries to hit minions to maintain, but that doesn't work. You have to hit champions, and you're just losing out on your Ragnarok timing, not having the Q reset. It just fell apart completely for Castle in that way, and it's just so harsh to see. Now, maybe with the ghost this time around, can they look for it?
Emperor's Divide is going to land, and Kaidazor is going to be in trouble. The kill going over to Castle.
Yeah, without Flash, it's an easier play to pull off in the mid lane, and Ghost as well on Castle, so they do get the kill even without committing a lot of things apart from the Flash of this year. But it's a nice turnaround kill to get. They are closer in gold now. They are actually hitting gold from that kill. So all in all, not a bad play to pull off in the mid lane.
Exactly, and that is attributed to, once again, Mark Boots performing exceptionally well in the CSing department. A 32 CS advantage for Mark Boots, which is going to probably be the reason why the gold is in their favor there.
Yep.
But Glacial Esports is having the same advantages here in the top lane. Smart As going to have a almost 40 CS advantage in the top lane, as we do get a play here in the bottom lane. All for One is going to be the target of a ton of damage. The Living Artillery will put All for One down to 200 HP, and Popeng is looking to come in to finish the job. We've got not a Shark, but a Volley Bear on the way to potentially make a play happen, but instead of going for it, we'll end up walking away.
Yeah, Karma actually doing so much, their turret pushing both of the bot laners away. Thanks to that, they are able to survive the dive from coming. Ooh, teleport committed here by Mark Boots to try and stop much more from the turret getting destroyed. And I actually like this play because Celia is just now getting the wave push. The next wave is collapsing onto mid lane, so it gives time for either Mark Boots or just All for One that just recalled to go get the wave that is going to crash into the turret. I actually really like the play. Not a lot of gold going into the pocket of GEB because I think that the plates didn't go to the Kog'Maw and the Renata. I think it just went to the Bolivar. Oh.
Yeah, Turk is going to get punished for not checking vision there, but the Condemn will get used, and Turk will be forced to flash away. Where that cannon gets taken, as Mitch Fleury is going to put in a little bit of damage onto Smart. Going to look to go in for the taunt. Get a little bit of damage, but it won't be enough to really force any play just yet. Smart is going to be potentially in trouble now, though. Nope, we'll be just fine as we look to go into the bottom lane. Going to be a massive Emperor's Divide from Mark Boots, as that's All for One that's going to be able to take down Sly Lego. That's another kill for Team Ambition, and that will stop the dragon stacking.
Yeah, I don't just wait.
Okay, hold on. Smart is going to try to go in for the play here, going to be able to get the healing from the Grand Challenge, and that will be enough to keep the Fiora alive. And unfortunately, I should have gone for Infernal again. It's going to be another Infernal Rift here for Game 2.
Yeah, they love to give us damage in this matchup, it seems. And on the top lane play, quickly before we talk about the fight that happened in the mid lane, in the bot lane. Importantly, if Fiora hits the Shen in that area, I think the flash was a smart decision because setting up that heal would have been great. Now, nobody dies, but I think that the play that Smartest was thinking of was actually smart, as his name implies. It didn't pan out, but I think really shows that he knows things with the Fiora, and that's why it's getting banned away. And then if we do get a replay of what happened on the bot side, Mark Boots, great Emperor's Divide there to set up the kill onto Skelego. Yes, it's not on Popping, which you would have loved to get that potential kill, but it's after the flash from the Renata, so it's even better because it's forced out of a summoner from the enemy, and you're getting the dragon thanks to that kill that you immediately get. The Ragnarok wasn't even used, which I think is important for the side of TAB. This was super close.
I gotta really highlight, though, what Smart was able to do there. It was such a risky play, but had he not gotten those vital points, it would have been a kill for Mitch Fleury. Yeah. So going in for that flash, recognizing that you have to go for it for the kill is really important, as we are going to see a play potentially here in the top lane. Mitch is going to be the target. Kaidazor and Popeng are coming through, and now it's going to be a 3v2. Castle's going to come in, and it's going to be Popeng being able to shut down the tower, as Mitch Fleury will go down immediately. Smart will be able to pick up that kill, and we still have Stormbringer alive. The Emperor's Divide! Gonna get 3 members to go down. Mark Boots is gonna try to deal the damage, and we'll be able to take down Popeng. Looking for another kill. Smartass is gonna be able to take that. So it's currently a 2-for-2. Castle wants the kill onto the Talia. Kaidazor is going to be the target. Turk comes in to potentially finish the job, and it's a 3-for-2 trade in favor of Team Ambition Black.
Mark Boots is doing his damnness to try and get the most for his team. Great fight, great execution. The Emperor's Divide being massive in that. Getting 3 important kills in a situation where Shen was getting really shut down. Look at see a difference right now between the Fiora and the Shen. She's doing so much in this matchup, and getting those kills is really important. Gets killed at the end, but I feel like the damage is already done. Now, it does mean that because of the amount of attention on the top side, bot side has been getting affected, but Bane is fine. This time around, all for one, not committing the same mistakes. He has a gold lead. So the plays that are happening on the top side are good because your bot lane is still staying, it's still fine.
Exactly. You know, and that's really, really what is needed here for All For One. The longer that this game goes on, the more powerful the Vayne becomes. And with having that exhaust, you're far safer than what you would be normally, as Turk is going to get targeted here with a little bit of damage from Popeng, going to try to be healing, as we do get the Stand United from the Shen, going to try to go in for Popeng. Popeng will die, and now All For One is on the way to try to clean up these kills, going to be able to get one for the final hour, looking to be able to get a second one. That's going to be another kill for Team Ambition, as Castle goes on a killing spree, only going to get shut down by Kaidazor. All For One once more, though, going to be able to pick up the Talia, but will fall to Sly Lego, going to be Turk potentially in trouble. Smart will pick up that. So it's a 4-for-3 trade in favor of GEB.
Yeah, really good trade coming in for GEB. At the end, the Fiora is the one that cleans up the fight, which ends up being the beneficial part for her. But I think for GEB is not a bad trade either, because they do kill the Kog'Maw, they kill the carries. So apart from Smart as being there and trying to get and getting a kill back, I think that it's not a bad situation. That was close.
Oh boy, that is close at all. Where's that True Shot Barrage now? But holy moly.
Maybe the one from last game comes out at this game, because since it didn't hit anyone, never.
Yep. But we got a replay coming in. TDS, walk it through.
Yeah, when the fight starts, and this is important, how the fight starts. Mark Boots getting a stun here, I think it's crucial, because it's a lot of damage missing onto Kaidazor. Then Mark Boots getting killed at the start also takes away quite a bit of damage, and it's now on both the Olaf and the Vayne to try and clean up. Massive ultimate from the Renata means that the Olaf cannot try and stay alive by himself in a couple of these situations, and the Vayne hitting on him was huge. I think this fight looks completely different if not for that initial stun on Mark Boots, as well as just Mark Boots staying alive for longer. I think those are the two crucial things that I think changes this fight completely.
Yeah, final hour is available for All For One, but he just goes in with that tumble, just trying to be able to get maybe a little bit of damage onto Silva, who does not have Ghost or Flash. But the next big play is coming up shortly with the Dragon spawning in 9 seconds. It is a all-powerful Infernal Drake, and the opportunity to use that to come through. A lot of damage, thanks to Kaidazor being able to get that seismic shove. As the Dragon does indeed get started, Glacial Esports Black is the one that's on it, and there is no way that Team Ambition Black is prepared to do it. It's going to be the Dragon getting taken for Glacial Esports, and no response from TAB.
Yeah, they couldn't respond immediately because the Shen is on top lane. They sent the Fiora to the mid lane to try and help to get vision control. So all in all, it was a commitment for GEB to try and get this Dragon. But at least TAB is not losing on something. They are getting the top lane turret. I'm pretty sure they should get it soon enough. So at least they are getting some gold back. Oh, actually, they don't get this. They don't have time.
No, Mitch Fleury will try to get away here, but is going to get hit by the Grand Challenge. And that just might be enough for Mitch Fleury. Yeah, Mitch Fleury will die.
He flashed failed. No, Mitch. That is harsh. He's in such a bad spot already because of the CS deficit in the top lane, and now also dying to the Fiora in that area is really, really bad.
Yeah, not the best play there going in for Team Ambition as we get to see it one more time.
Do we need to?
Yeah, Mitch goes in, tries to get the taunt, and then...
Oh, no.
Yuck.
He even put... Like, to not... Because I don't want to put more into this death. It feels bad, but he even positioned himself for the side. Ooh, great Weaver's Wall actually in that play. We didn't see it because we were sad for what happened in top lane, but great use of the Weaver's Wall in that play to blow the flash from Turk.
Yeah, Turk does not have flash now available for the next about 4 minutes or so. That's not the most impactful summoner spell. I mean, yes, you would have preferred to have gotten the flash out of Mark Boots or All for One, but they don't have flash available anyway, so just getting what you can out of your Weaver's Wall. It will be available for the next big neutral objective. You don't really have to go for Baron on spawn, but we've got ourselves a game. We're 20 minutes in, and neither one of these teams has been able to build a significant gold advantage. It's about a 600 gold lead for Glacial Esports, but the big development is how strong Smart As is currently. Not only do they have 2 items, but they've also got a significant CS advantage against their lane opponent. Mitch Fleury at this point is an ultimate bot.
Yep, he doesn't even have a mythic complete compared to the Fiora that has 2 items already built for herself, so must feel really bad for Mitch Fleury, and for GEB, the fact that your top lane cannot respond. Ooh.
Yeah, Mark Boots is thanking his lucky stars that seismic shove did not land, but the play is now going in onto Kaidazor, who does not have Weaver's Wall active just yet. We'll finally have it available momentarily, but they've decided not to go in for the play, and Kaidazor will not fall.
Yeah, interesting that they respected the potential there, which I think for TAB, nice that they respected it. I think that they could have gone for the dive and get out, but it's still not wanting to give away an advantage because of how the rest of the map is going. Like, the top lane is going really badly on the mid lane. Kog'Maw, it's going to have the push over the Bane, it seems. So you really don't want to overcommit for certain plays to happen. Now, TB still, I feel like, shouldn't fight the next dragon. Oh.
Okay, 0 for 1. Maybe going to be the target here as Popang does have that Stormbringer to shut off the lights, but instead just going to back away once again. I mean, at this point, you've got a ticking time bomb in the top lane. Smart As will win you this game if they cannot be stopped.
Yep. Split pushing, a tactic that people haven't used since who knows when.
I don't know. Do you know TDS?
I don't actually remember. I feel like it was Season 6, the last time I've seen true split pushing coming to fruition.
Well, I mean, I think Smart has the opportunity to show us why split pushing can still be effective here. So much power there as the Weaver's Wall is going to get used. Turk barely able to get away. Nice use of the extra movement speed from the Mantra E to be able to get away.
That felt like a repetition of a previous play already. Oh.
All for 1, potentially going to be in trouble as the chains do not land. Turk will still live to fight
as
Mark Boots is now on the way. All for 1 is going to use the final hour. Going to get a ton of damage onto Silva here. With that, tons of damage coming in onto Castle as well. The standing eye is going to be used.
The Bane is trying so hard. They're losing this.
Massive hostile takeover once again. That's going to be 2 kills for Smart as the fight will continue. Going to be able to get the root. A triple kill for Smart. And Team Ambition Black is in shambles.
Yeah, they kept on pushing for the fight because they used the final hour. But like you pointed out, Renata with a huge ultimate. They cannot fight this. GEB is just out-destroying them, outplaying them completely in team fights. Oh, yeah, they are losing this.
My God, yeah, Smart is just way too powerful right now. Turk will go down. Mark Boots will defend the turret, but huge play for Glacial Esports. 4 kills to nothing, and now they're looking to be able to go towards Baron.
Yeah, this Olaf feels like it's built up on paper. Castle feels like it's a paper castle because it's not stacking up to the typical play that we've seen from Olaf. When you reach the backlane as Olaf, most of the times you can kill it. Baron buff going to the favor of GEB Esports, and this is so worrying for the side of TAB. Now, the team fighting, I feel like it's fine the way that it was going, although Castle cannot get pulled like he did, but it was fine until the hostile takeover came in. Also, Bane is stunning herself. In that, stunning by the tip of the rock from the Talia. That is why the change of Talia was amazing as well. Adding that to her kit is just so good for her. And then it just rounded up into a teamfight that was impossible to win for the side of TAB. Everything just became better and better for GEB the longer the fight goes on.
Great riposte from Smart, going to be able to secure another kill, being able to get the stun onto Turk. with Baron now up for another 2 and 15. The bounties on turrets and the like is now available, and that's just going to be an even better advantage for Glacial Esports. The taunt's going to land on the Smart, who's now going to be in a 3v1 for the time being, but no, the Cavalry has arrived, and now it's a 5v3 in favor of Glacial Esports. Castle will fall, a double kill for Smart, make it potentially a triple. No, Kaidazor will take the third, as we do see Turk going to be able to take down Popang in the river, maybe being able to get something out of that play, but once again, Team Ambition Black is going to get dominated, and Smart is not looking to finish the job, or looking to finish the job now. Smart's going to be getting a lot of damage on 0 for 1, as we do get to see the exhaust getting used. The blast code doesn't come in, and 0 for 1 is going to potentially be in trouble as the living artillery comes through. Smart as wants the kill. Smart as isn't going to be able to get it, but it's a shutdown. Silva will be able to take down 0 for 1, but that's 1,000 gold in the Vane's pocket.
And you take that as the Bane. It's 1,000 gold into your pocket, into your bank to try and get something. And it's on the Bane. Bane has to carry this game. Mark Boots can deal damage, but it's certainly not going to be the hyper carry. Castle and Mitch Fury are going to be extras. It's on the Bane, the start of the show. And the fact that she gets 3,000 gold and takes off the split pusher's Baron buff, I think it's quite crucial. This is a play that I understand why TAB are going for it, because they think they have the numbers advantage. But as soon as it happens, look at the time it took for the side of GEB to move around to try and collapse on this play. It's amazing the speed that they react to, and it's so good to see from a team that is coming forward. This is not a thing that we see from a team that is forward plays. This is an actual top tier team doing things that top tier teams does commit to. Now, they do get the kill from Popping as well. We didn't catch this. Sadly, didn't go for 0 for 1.
I mean, what's really, really interesting here is this vision control. I have to really highlight this vision control that Glacial Esports has continuously had throughout this game and this series. As it does look like we might be looking to get another play here in the bottom lane. Popang is going to be able to get the Chilling Flight onto Mitch Flurry, trying to be able to survive, but the Dead Man's Plate will be enough to get Popang into the position. Kaidazor is trying to try to get the Everfrost, will not get the root, but it's not going to matter. It's Kaidazor on a killing spree.
But it's the same story as the play that we saw just highlighted in the repetition. 5 people coming immediately to respond to a play that is happening on the side. And that's a great thing to see from a team like GEB, because it's not something that we expected.
Oh, they want it. They're going to try to avoid everyone as Castle's going to try to come through. Mark Boots is going to be the target, and Mark Boots will go down. Popang is going to get hit by a ton of damage, and that's going to be Mark Boots being able to take down the Volibear, which makes it a 2 for 1 so far. But the play is not over yet. Kaidazor is trying to be able to do what they can with that Ghost activated. Going to try to get that movement speed onto Castle, onto 0 for 1, onto Turk. As Smart as is going to look to siege this tower. Kirk is going to get hit by the Weaver, or by the Seismic Shove, and that's the Inhibitor Tower going down, as well as potentially the Inhibitor. It falls, and that is now another play for Glacial Esports.
Yeah, another favorable play. Numbers advantage is always going to work out for you. Also, Dragon coming up in 1 minute. We haven't talked much about it, but GEB has 3 of the 4 Dragons already in the game, so they are setting themselves up for the Soul in the coming minute. We need to see Tab with a miraculous teamfight to win the game, but so far it feels like GEB has complete control and say on what is happening. Like, they are owning TAB in whatever they want to do.
I completely agree. This is not a first seed team. Like, I'm saying it right now. This is not a first team team that is playing.
It is, but it's GEB.
It's GEB that's playing as the first seed team. I mean, look at that play from Kaidazor. A huge Weaver's Wall to split apart the map, to split apart the game for Team Ambition, and they get everything that they want out of that play and more. Yes, Popang dies, but you take that trade because now you have no real defense against that tower. So another play coming in for Glacial Esports, as we are going to see the Dragon now spawning in about 12 seconds. Who is going to be able to get this Dragon as Glacial Esports is looking at the Fertile Soul and potentially end the game.
Smart as such a great
trying to be able to go in for 0 for 1, and Sly Lego is going to be the target from onto Glacial Esports. Castle will fall, and Sly Lego will survive thanks to the bailout. Kaidazor is on Rampage as Mitch Flurry will go down. Mark Boots will be able to take the kill on Sly Lego. 0 for 1 will die. Turk will fall, and it's a 4 for 1 trade as Mark Boots is looking to be able to defend what they can. Going to go in, but it's not gonna matter. It's the ace for Smartaz, and Team Ambition Black are gonna go down 2 games to Glacial Esports.
Yeah, and so far it feels like the ones that are stuck in the traffic are not GEB. It's TAB. because the ones that are appearing this series, it's GEP. They are performing to the highest of levels when it mattered. Yes, GEB may be 07-0, and they can turn around the series so far, but it's GEP that are showing up when it matters, and you have to give them credit for it. I did not believe in them, but they are showing up as a team that deserves credit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You cannot deny the power of Glacial Esports right now. Currently,
Yep.
up 2 games against Team Ambition and are looking to close out this series quickly. Team Ambition Black are, I mean, they're not out of this series. They're not out of this series. They have
Yeah.
not ended their opportunities, and they still have the chance to potentially take this series back and win. But what's happening here in this game, what's happening here in this series, is not indicative of a first seed team, and really putting all of our expectations and all of my expectations out the window.
Yeah, it's a surprising thing to see, but this is also something that playoffs do allow to see us. Because one thing that regular season has always been a reflection to me is that it's a time to set up as a team. If you come in as a newer team or a team that certainly don't have a lot of things set up for yourself, regular season set allows for you to just begin setting up as a team. And then if you reach playoffs, it's when it really matters to see. And that's, I think, what we're seeing for GEP. I wasn't confident in GEP's ability because of a lot of things that were happening regular season and how it ended up happening on Group A. I wasn't much of the idea that Group A or Group B was stronger. I was much more so on the team's individual strengths with how the regular season was being presented. But so far, GEP really has taken it to using the regular season to set themselves up for playoff success. And that's so far what is happening. They are playing super well in this series against Team Ambition Black. They are playing the map correctly. They are setting Vision up in a really favorable situation. One play that sticks to me so much from this game, for example, is when they called Smartass down into the mid lane, into the bot side to set up Vision for the Dragon, so that they can get a safe dragon, and then Smartass just goes back into top lane. May lose a turret. They didn't even lose a turret, but may lose a turret. It doesn't matter. It's post 15 minutes. So that's a turret that it's irrelevant at that point in the game. And I like that smart call and decision making for GEP because it shows that they understand what things they need to do to get ahead in the game.
Exactly. And, with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll go back to the analyst desk and talk about what is actually happening here in this series. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get ourselves ready for game number 3, and we'll see you guys shortly.
Welcome back, everybody, for Game 3 of the series between Glacial Esports Black and Team Ambition Black. And, well, it's looking like it's going to be a 3-0, as we all predicted, except for me. It's just gonna be a 3-0 in the opposite direction. So,
Yeah.
TDS, before the last game, you said that if Team Ambition Black lost the second one, you'd start sweating. Are you sweating? Are you sweating a
I'm. It's hard for me to sweat since it's really cold in my home country, sadly.
little
But
bit? Okay,
I
fair.
am metaphorically sweating quite a bit. Like I want to attack TV, or that sounded bad. I want to say things about TAB because I think that they can perform better than they did, and I think the draft certainly hasn't looked the most promising. But I feel like it's mostly a playstyle because I don't think that they have been playing up to standard. I really, from coming from what we expected of TAB and particularly a 7-0 on team to what we're seeing, it's like the 7-0 on team it's GEB and TAB are the 4-3-1. And I think that it's a lot on how they're playing, particularly on Castle. I've been expecting more from him. The Olaf game, I think that he had the tools to go for it. You have a Shen with the Stand United. You have a Karma that can boost you up. Go for a place on the bot side. Why stick towards the top side? They never did that. And I felt so surprised that they didn't commit much more in that kind of playstyle. So I'm kind of disappointed in that regard.
Okay. Moose, I know that you have particular opinions on the draft
I sure
in the
do.
first two games. And I want to give you the floor here. You've got some stuff to say. So, Azir, first pick, 2 games in a row. What are we missing? What do we not understand about this strategy that they apparently do?
No, I don't get it. I don't. I do not understand the B1 Azir. The benefit of the doubt argument is that Mark Boots is performing well as the Azir in the mid lane up against his lane opponent. In both games against Talia, he has been in a significant CS advantage. He's been able to make plays with the Talia. My issue is that it's a B1 pick. My issue is that it is a B1 pick that has now gotten countered twice by a Volibear Talia and has not had enough impact to be able to win the game. Now I'm believing that these games have been decided in draft. Like, the drafting from Team Ambition Black is really giving me question marks here. Like, you don't want to give the Azir over to Glacial Esports, so you pick it B1, but then you get countered so effectively against it. Then you go with an Olaf Karma, like, again, like you're building you're building parts, but not actually building a cohesive unit that is going to be able to make the game happen. And it's just continuously been the case here for Team Ambition these last 2 games, where I think the draft has been really inconsistent. Something is wrong with the way that they've been drafting, and if we see Azir again in a B1 pick, I really have to. I don't know. I might blow a gasket. I really like. It feels like Black is just not playing the game in 12.12. I go back to what I said at the very beginning of the game. It's that in a new patch, play to your fundamentals. And Team Ambition Black is not playing a fundamentally good League of Legends game. They're not doing vision control. They're not coordinating as a team in these skirmishes in the early game. Their team fighting has been lackluster. And all of those things are resulting in them losing spectacularly in both of these first 2 games.
Yeah, I think that we see some good looks from them, but they're just like always behind the curve. It seems like Glacial Esports just has a better read on the meta than they do. And more importantly, Glacial Esports just has a better understanding of how they need to play the game right now, because not only are they getting outdrafted, but they're just getting outmaneuvered in the game itself. And it definitely is really it's a little concerning. It is a little concerning, especially if you're a fan of Team Ambition Black. to see this happening and see this play out. So, what can they do to bring this series back from the brink?
Not play as
Win.
ZRB1.
Okay, not play as ZRB1. Step 1. What's step 2?
Play better.
Play better. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting progress going.
Yeah,
So
I think that's good enough. So at least for this.
Okay, well, I'll have to agree with you on that. And hopefully these two teams can make, or I guess hopefully for TAB they can pull it back, or I guess they're hoping they can pull it back, and we're hoping to get a more exciting series going. So let's see, will Glacial Esports be able to close it out, or will Team Ambition Black start their 3-0 comeback tour? Let's go to the draft and see what they can do. Take it away, boys.
Yep, and we're going to take a look and see that Team Ambition Black have decided to leave the Senna up here in Game 2. They've decided that the Fiora for Smartass cannot be allowed. It is definitely makes sense because of how well the Fiora was able to play in Game number 2, along with that Anivia and that Kindred, which have been staple bans from TAB. Glacial Esports has banned out that Seraphine and that Wukong. They're deciding on their ban 3. But now the big question is, how does Team Ambition decide to play their B1? Oh. We got the Volibear Hubbard, and it's going to get locked in. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, so for starters, I was thinking they're not going. GEB is not going to ban Senna at all because TAB has shown that they don't want to play it. So it's not going to be first pick. They instead opt for the Volibear, which I think at least taking away makes sense. You can still flex it, and it's not the free one as tier that I'm pretty sure it's not going to work out that great. But Senna TK is the answer, which makes full sense. Senna is left open, and you have the Temkins to pair up with the Senna. So now TAB needs to have a strong set of champions to play around with. Can go for, but I think they can go once again for the Bane Karma, which wasn't necessarily a bad combo, and I think that against a combo like this they couldn't have much problems. But instead hovering an engage support that we haven't seen actually. So far we have seen 2 enchanters, so this could be the first engage support that TAB pulls off in this series today.
Nautilus is such a good pick against TK. You're able to stun out the Abyssal Dive in multiple ways, and that has been such a big power play that TK has available to them. And so being able to take away that opportunity to use that Abyssal Dive effectively is going to be an important play here in the bottom lane, and I expect that we're going to see the ADC picked up here in the B3 pick. Being able to go in, since you know that it's going to be Senna TK here, it's going to be Nautilus and Zeri getting locked in.
Yeah, they buy themselves a little bit of time thinking of it. The Seri was banned away in the previous game, so I like that they are opting for it right now. With the Nautilus, like you're pointing out, crucially and importantly, they have a point-and-click ultimate that will give them a lot of CC. And I think that that's a really important thing. Maybe something that I could have argued they lacked in the previous 2 games. Hard engage, maybe not in the first one, but in the previous game, hard engage to lock down targets. I think that that was something that they lacked, and this time around with the Nautilus, certainly are going to get it. And Camille gets picked as well, another champion that did get banned consistently on second rotation, gets picked this time for Glacial Esports.
Yep, and now going to have that Camille available, having that Hextech Ultimatum, going to be able to really lock down potentially this Zeri, which is going to be a really good opportunity here. But Glacial Esports is looking to continue to keep up with some of these jungle picks and potentially, for the first time in this series, really pinch the jungle pool for Popang. The Trundle is going to get taken away. We see the Mordekaiser, which is a really strong pickup here in this meta, going to get taken away along with the Shen against the Camille, which makes sense. But I definitely think that Team Ambition Black is looking to be able to pinch Popang, who has been so impactful in these first two games of the series.
Yeah, I hope they go for the... I think Livia here is smart. It's not a bad option, especially with the AP damage being certainly taken away from certain situations. I think that taking away here, the Livia is not a bad option. Now, Talia could still be a pick here for Glacial. Use it to flex because you don't know if it's going to be a jungle or a mid lane, and then decide on the last pick if you really want to take the Talia to the jungle or in the mid lane. Could still be an option, but I can see them also blinding here their jungle like they do with the Sejuani. That is a safe option. It's a jungler that can do no wrong in my opinion because she's just tanky and has initiation tools.
And now looking at the opportunity for us to see now a new pick here for Poping, the Sejuani, like you said, is going to be used. You do have that Glacial Prison, which can continue to put in power in this single target play that Glacial Esports is trying to go for.
Okay.
Martaz, okay, we got the Garen coming through. I don't think we're gonna see Garen in the bottom lane, but you know what? We will see Garen here for Vince Fleury in the top lane.
So here's the thing. AP Seri was playing in the mid lane. Could it still be a Garen bot lane? Could, maybe. I'm not going to say it is, but could maybe. But I think it's going to be in the top lane. I think that it does have a potentially good matchup into the Camille in certain situations, and the Spin is really hard to play against in some situations as well, especially in the side lane. Corki getting picked here essentially means that it's going to be a Garen in the top lane, so it's going to be great seeing if TA Black with this pick for their life, this is their last chance to come back into the series. If they lose, they are out. Playing Garen top, this is going to be exciting. Oh, and Swain gets picked.
Definitely makes sense that the Swain will come through. I've been loving Swain come in as a really strong mid lane champion and something that can punish the Corki in the early game. It takes so long for a Corki to get effective, and you do need to scale up immensely before it becomes exceptionally available. So I really do think that that is a smart R5 pickup here for Glacial Esports, and it's going to be an opportunity for Kaidazor to play something that he has not played yet here in this series, but somewhat similar though, because both Talia and the Swain are both battle mages, and so we're going to get the opportunity to see that come through here in game 3.
Yeah, you brought up the important point here. It's different from what Kaidazor has been playing, but the style is similar. Why? Because it fits towards what the composition wants. It's a peak potential mage that can get picks if he wants to, but also in team fights can find a lot of value. And I think that that's something that Pep has valued so much in this series. Having a mid laner that can provide a lot of things both in team fighting and in pick potential to allow for the rest of the team to have space. I think that is huge for GEB, and it's a style that it's being played all throughout the series. So keeping something similar, I think it's going to work out for them. And certainly this is their formula to success. So I want to see if they can take that formula of success towards that last step that it's lacking. Now, on the side of Team Ambition Black though, certainly taking away from the mid lane Azir, a positive step, and I think importantly, I like mages much more in the bot lane, I like enchanters much more, but one thing that I do think they have in this game that I feel like they lacked a little bit in the previous game, engage, hard engage to force things to happen. And I think that with the Nautilus, with the Bolivar, they will get much more possibilities for that.
Exactly. It's going to be the opportunity now for us to see all of that come into play here. I am super excited to see how Game 3 plays. A ton of questions now. Does Team Ambition Black, with drafting what we consider to be a... I don't want to say that it's a better comp, but I think that they drafted better in their composition, picking up that Volibear.
I'm still eerie on the Garen though, but yeah, overall.
We'll see about that. But regardless of that, with that being said, now we get to talk about the Dragon here in Game 3. We've had an Infernal Drake and Rift in Games 1 and 2. What do you think the Dragon is going to be for Game 3?
They are going to throw a curveball and it's going to be Ocean. I believe they want to throw water into the fire.
Water into the fire. Let's see if that is going to be the case. We've done 2 Infernal Drakes in a row. Let's go for the hat trick. We're going to see a third one.
Okay.
We're going to see a third Infernal Drake here in game number 3. Of course, guys, let us know what you guys think the Drake is going to be for game number 3. And with that being said, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
hurt me, it did several times. It hurts to admit that we're no different. I find it hard to commit, but you don't even try. Still, I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell if you're here or you're out there. Do you wanna be out there? You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer dragon for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. We run and go still every time. Whatever it is, I keep on trying. 'Cause it ain't hard to forgive when you know what it's like. That's why I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell if you're here or you're out there. Do you wanna be out there? You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer dragon for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need to be Prince Charming to me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are live for game number 3 of this quarterfinal match of the Victoris Triumph Series. Team Ambition Black have been a bit of a letdown in these first 2 games. Well, Glacial Esports has risen to the occasion and are now just 1 game away from making a semi-finals appearance. My name is Moose, and I am joined here today at the desk by TDS, and of course our host Becky Rita, and our producer and Magical Cow. TDS, as we move into game number 3, I mean, expectations are high that Team Ambition can potentially at least take a game, but so far, they have not been performing the way that we would have expected them to.
Yeah, coming in as the first aid, we thought that this was going to be a pretty just straightforward day for them, a easy case for them to get the victory. But so far, it's been going great for GEB. They are taking the fights how they need to. They are taking the games how they need to. And it's on the side of TB to really showcase themselves in this match. A quick thing to notice, both the laners running Ignite, so we may see a lot of action really early on.
Really quickly, and we'll go over the rosters now. Mitch Fleury going to be playing as the Garen in the top lane, with Castle 7 as the Volibear. Mark Boots piloting the Corki, with All For One and Turk going to be your bottom lane as that Zeri Nautilus, as we already get that trading in the top lane. Smartaz going to get a little bit of damage against Mitch Fleury, but hey, this is Team Ambition Black, potentially their final game of the VTS.
Yeah, they need to stay awake and try and play for their ideas and not lose this game at all.
Exactly. We'll go ahead and we'll see if they can do it, as Mitch Fleury is now going to be putting in with a little bit of damage here. Not quite yet in the in a chance to die with no hookshot available for Smart, but once you do get level 2, the opportunity for both of these players to potentially go in for that first blood is there. Mitch Fleury will be able to get level 2 first, and they're looking to be able to potentially find something in the bottom lane, as well as Turk is going to be able to find the dredge line on the sly Lego. Just trading continuing.
Yeah, going for a lot of trades. Level 2 for both top laners as well. So maybe we see the action going here. It's taking a lot of damage on the Garen, but nice trade as well there coming through.
Yep. For the time being, putting in some work and just continuing to put plays in. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Mark Boots is not going to have a fun time here as this core keeper. We're going to see a 4-man play. Kaidazor must have seen it and is now going to be able to walk away. Going to be just fine.
So I'm not sure if he saw the 4 members coming, but there were pings certainly coming in from the bot side. So I like the awareness from the whole team to stop a potential play from happening in the mid lane. The positioning was perfect for something bad to happen, so great timing on that. And on the top side, a lot of damage coming through as well.
Exactly. Smart does have the Ignite here, so Mitch Flurry does have to be careful. If that Ignite gets used and Mitch Flurry gets a little too low, it could potentially be careful. It could potentially be GG for the Garen in the top lane. Becky was talking about that in the chat or in the pregame. They said that it was a opportunity potentially for Smart to have a really good top lane advantage because the Camille is able to, in their words, stat check the Garen at all stages of the game.
Yeah, like the Garen has windows that he can make advantage of. Ooh, flash in there.
Mitch is going to flash and is now looking to go in against Smart, going to go in
Nice.
for the silence, going to be
He's not
igniting
using
both teams, spinning to win, trying to fall, and
check.
will fall. Smart, gonna get first blood.
Yeah, and much more so than stat check in this one, it felt like a complete misplay from Mitch Flurry. Flashing away from the hookshot, I think it's smart, but then the follow-up, never using the spin, not using correctly, I think, the shield either, the ignite, coming in, I think at the same time to the Camille, and it just feels like the Camille had the upper hand because of using their abilities better than the Garen, and Garen gets completely punished in that regard. Great first blood by Smartass.
Yeah, really, really strong play there coming in from the Camille now in a massive CS advantage. That has been a consistent points all series for this Glacial Esports top laner, despite having some deaths in game 1. In both of his last 2 games, Smartass has been able to have a considerable CS advantage against Mitch Flurry, his lane opponent, as we do get an Infernal Drake, so it will not be an Infernal Rift for game 3.
Yeah, you missed the hat trick just by a little bit, but my prediction is alive. Do we know how are we in the prediction race in Dragons on the season?
I actually don't know how many ones we've gotten right. I didn't keep track of that. I'll have to keep track of that next split for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious, but yeah, hopefully we do see the Ocean Dragon or not, but this is something that we're going to see, this gang.
Yeah, Mitch Flurry is now going to be in trouble, as we do also get the Visions of Empire. Mitch Flurry is going to be in trouble, and that is going to be another kill for Glacial Esports. This Camille is level 6 and 2-0.
Yeah, and I was, before the first blood came through, I was talking about 2 windows of opportunity mainly. One was if the Garen gets level 6 before the Camille. Now that's not a reality. That is already completely shut down. This Camille is so strong, ahead of the Garen in CS, has the advantage of the 2 kills as well as the Shin, and as soon as the Ignite comes back, can go once again for a solo kill. The Dragon does get collected by TEB, which I think is a smart respawn play on the other side, but the advantage that gave his netting is so important.
And remember that this Garen was picked into the Camille. This was the B4 counter pick for Team Ambition Black, deciding to go with the Camille, not deciding to go with the Ornn, not deciding to go with another pseudo tank, and instead wanting to go in for this Garen, and it has been just completely destroyed as Smartass is able to go in for another massive trade against Mitch Flurry.
Yeah, and not level 6 yet. Dive coming in. Oh no.
Yeah, this is looking not good for Garen. Gonna have to go for a massive outplay here as the hookshot's going to land the stun, going to be putting in a ton of damage. Great use of the Hextech Ultimatum, and that is a 3rd death for Mitch Flurry here on this Garen.
Can they not do this to him? This is the 3rd game. Why are you going to bully the poor Mitch Flurry on the top lane? 3 deaths already, another kill that could have gone to the Camille, but instead is taken by the Sejuani. If I have to say something, I think the dive could have been a little bit better if the Camille doesn't take that much damage, but who cares at this point? 3-0 in favor of GEB, and they are running the top side like they really want to.
Okay, the smite is there this time for Castle as he tries to go in. Visions of Empire will stop the chance of the stun, as Turk is going to be in the mid lane trying to be able to push forward so Mark Boots can potentially go back. In a little bit of a CS advantage there in the mid lane, but right now it is just feeling so rough for the top lane here. Smart has 2-0-1, massive CS advantage, massive gold lead for GEB, attributed to the CS advantage and the kills that GEB has.
Yeah, now coming for a play, maybe this will work out for them. They can force effectively. It's getting responsive.
Kaidazor is here, though. It's so good on these map rotations that Turk is going to be the target. Turk will fall. And Silva's going to be able to pick up their first kill of the game, all for what is going to be the next target. As these exhaust comes in, it's going to be a kill against all for one. No. And in the top lane, Smartaz is going to pick up their third kill against Mitch Fleury, who's now 0-4-0.
Yeah, the number 1 seed is such a great team. GEB responding as they should as the number 1 seed. They are playing greatly. And I really hope that was a joke in some sense, but it feels like it's the case. Map rotation masterpiece from the side of GEB. Kaidazor comes first to the play. Look at the map. He's already moving, using Ghost to reach the play first, gets in position really easily and just gets the kill in favor of the side of GEB. Also, the flash is great because it just puts him to keep stacking the ultimate, and then the pull through here is amazing as well. And then on the top side, they had the vision control inside of the Tribush. They moved around inside of the Tribush, both the Camille and the Sejuani, to get towards the Garen. And Garen, even with flash, cannot run away from that amount of C. So it's such an easy kill to collect. It's so well done by GEB.
Yeah, Glacial Esports, the game is not over. The game is not over for Team Ambition Black, but it is definitely feeling like it is going to be inevitable here. This is the 4th death that Mitch Fleury currently has. We're seeing it on screen. Just an easy kill. Easy kill for this Camille. Once again, the vision control. Where the heck is this vision for Mitch Fleury? Currently 1 vision score, has 2 vision wards right now, can just drop that vision in the brush, doesn't have it. What is happening? I don't have any response. I'm completely shocked.
I'm shocked, happily, for GEB that they are showing up, because I did call them. I did say this, and I'm not going to go back on what I said, because to me it was the truth before coming to this matchup. They were the weakest team in terms of how I ranked the rest of the teams. And to me, they needed to showcase themselves today, and they are doing that. They are upsetting. This is the biggest upset to me that could have happened today, and they are doing so in a great way. Like, the performance that they are showcasing, really setting themselves up for the semifinals if they win this last game. And I really hope that GEB can still play strongly, because they are showcasing such a great masterclass of gameplay today.
They are masterclassing in draft. They are masterclassing in early game. They are masterclassing in vision and map control. And they are continuing to make play after play after play here in this series. Glacial Esports Black is on their game right now, and they are looking to potentially be able to find something here. The dredge line does not land as Mark Boots goes in for a teleport with this Mountain Drake spawning in the bottom lane. Still has the package and was seen, however. So this could be a potential play for Team Ambition Black to go for. This is going to be a must-win situation for Glacial Esports as they do go in with the Valkyrie. Going to be able to get a ton of advantage on the Poking Kaidazor as Castle trying to be able to make it happen, but it's not going to matter. Popang is trying to be able to survive, but the power from Slight Lego will be enough to keep the Sejuani alive. Mark Boots is at 1 HP. Kaidazor has the Ghost. It's going to be the Corki trying to get out of this one, but it won't matter. Glacial Esports picks up another easy 4.
Oh, wait, but hey, on the top side, Garen, he comes back and gets a kill, so not everything is horrible. Becky, be happy. Garen gets a kill. I need to see how would that happen.
I guess, but I mean, we got to look at this bottom lane play. The Devour from Sly Lego has been so good from this TK, keeping Popang alive in that exchange, and we get to see it one more time.
Yeah, we get to see it one more time here. The play, get the idea here to try and go for Kaidasura, but he's going to be one of the hardest members to kill. The problem is that there's no better targets, right? Because Chamkinch and Senna are isolated. Sejuani is super tanky. So Kaidasura is kind of the only member that you can realistically look for trying and getting a kill on, and that's your best bet. Okay, it looks like Camille took way too much damage from turret. Potentially, yeah, tried to go for the dive, took a lot of the damage, survives by the skin of the teeth, but at the end it is Garen that gets the kill because she was already way too low.
Exactly, and will use the flash in order to make that happen, but now this early game has been secured for Glacial Esports, 2-0-5 on both Popeng and Kaidazor, with their mythic items completed, the Frostfire Gauntlet as well as the Leandri's Anguish. So definitely feeling really good here for Glacial Esports. Team Ambition Black is on the ropes as the first tower of the game goes down in the top lane as the Rift Herald is secured. We do have Castle and Mitch going to try to be able to get a kill potentially onto Smart. Doesn't have the hook shot available. Will be able to use it to be able to get away, but Smartass does go in. Castle's going to be the target as the Hextech Ultimate will come through. Castle will fall. Popeng will pick up that kill, and it's now a 2v2. Mitch Flurry is going to be able to use the Demacian Justice to be able to take down the Camille, but now Kaidazor is on the way to try to be able to clean this one up. Mark Boots is coming in. Kaidazor is going to flash forward in the Demonic Ascension to be able to pick up one. Going to be the Dawning Shadows from the Senna to pick up another. And Team Ambition Black will lose 3 more kills. Kaidazor with 2.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what he was. He was a dictator, general. Not even sure anymore. But general from Noxus. Thank you. I was actually thinking the Masha for some reason, but the Mashi is dead. Garen is dead. Noxus is the one that is triumphing thanks to the Swain, and it's being so great. Like the rotations this time around came a little bit late. Oh wait, hoping.
Hey, got a little bit of a play here made. Popeng is going to be in trouble, and Castle will pick up that shutdown.
Yeah, Castle getting the shutdown. Garen did get a kill previously as well. Not a bad situation all in all. Castle cannot die here though. Ooh. Okay, flash. It's fine. Not dead. That's what matters if you're on TAB side. Now, I did want to say that Kaidasura to me has been playing so well this whole series. The rotations coming in from the Swain, this one was a little bit later, but did amount to a lot for the side of GEB once again. And it's been good watching the mid laner from GEB moving around, netting the kills, securing the place for the side of GEB, and doing quite a lot for the team.
Exactly, and that is what needs to happen here for Team Ambition Black. If they want to get back into this game, they need the kills, and they need to try to get some sort of advantage somewhere across the rift. We do have an Ocean Rift here for game number 3. So, you know, something that both teams could potentially go for.
Hey, I won.
You did. Hey, you know what? We both got one right.
True. Great night for caster predictions.
Great. Well, I guess not, because we all 3 have predicted a Team Ambition win, but I don't know if we have enough hopium to be able to try to see if they're going to be able to get it. Kaidazor is going to pick up another kill, and that's going to be a rampage for Kaidazor.
Yeah, that ghost cooldown has been so effectively used by Kaidazor. I feel like every time that is off cooldown gets used to maximum effectiveness and gets complete value. Great. Once again, another kill, and for the Dragon, can set up vision once again for them. Also, let's not expect to see the top laners in any Dragon fight unless they are already moving for the Dragon, because neither have teleport.
Yeah, Smart, currently 3-2-3, is going to be able to get an extra 600 gold in their pocket. Going to be able to pick up that inner tier 2 tower in the top lane. So, going to just continue to be rich here in this lane. Not wealthy, but just rich. As we knew, Smartass now potentially going to be in trouble. Nice use of the hook shot to be able to get away. And we'll use the flash to get away from the dredge line.
Crawling in.
In trouble. Gonna get rooted. Gonna get tooted. Going to exhaust. Kaidazor. Gonna try to get away. We now have Popeng on the way. Gonna get smited. But Smiling with another great devour. Castle's gonna go in. We've got Smartass gonna be able to pick up one kill with that Hextech ultimatum. We got Sly Lego helping secure another one. It's a double kill for Silva. And now Mitch Fleur is gonna come in to try to be able to do what they can. Gonna go for the Demacian Justice against Popeng. Will be able to get it. Gonna be a dredge line coming in from Turk to try to get Kaidazor, but it's not gonna matter. It's an ace against Team Ambition Black.
the gold div is too high, the player div feels a little bit too high, and Gary is just destroying TAB in these team fights. And it starts with all for one, actually, I think going for the play to try and get something back because it was in a really tough spot. We have the I was going to say repetition again, but Cow told me not to, so I don't remember what the word is. The replay. Yeah, we do. I think we do have the replay to see how the fight went, and it starts with over aggressiveness from the side of GEB as well, because it's 0 for 1 going for a kill under turret, but then it's the Poping going all in to try and kill 0 for 1, and that's. Poping, no. They are just so far ahead. They are that far ahead that they don't care about that. So another great devour by Sky Lego. Like, has been so on point on those. Then the coming up from the Cameo to clean up the fight. And it's just that even if it feels like TAB can trade positively, it's not the case. Because get completely answered. Oh,
Yeah,
and
and
0 for 1
on
again.
live, 0 for 1 will fall once again. Currently 0 4 and 1. Silva 5 0 and 8. 13 out of 20 kill participation on this. Senna is absolutely dominating the bottom lane with Sly Lego. Currently 5 0 and 17 as a unit. So really, really nicely done coming in from Glacial Esports in their bottom lane as we get to take a look at what happened here. In the mid lane, 0 for 1 though. Gonna get caught out. Goodbye.
I thought she was going to get soloed by the Sejuani, but at least Camille was there. So at least there was someone who did damage that made sense to get the kill.
Yeah, unfortunately for Team Ambition Black, this game is looking all but inevitable for Glacial Esports. It is an 11,000 gold advantage at 19 minutes into the game. It will take a near godly effort for Glacial Esports to lose this game at this point. And, you know, we got to talk about all of the inconsistencies that Team Ambition has been having here. The vision, the map control, the team fight coordination, it's just all been off here for Team Ambition. And Glacial Esports have capitalized at every part of this battle. Currently in this game, 4 out of 5 neutral objectives before 20 minutes going into their favor.
I think 5 actually, because they got both heralds, right? So
they got both heralds and 2 dragons. As we do get another fight here in the jungle, Sly Lego is going to get hit. As we do get a ton of damage, as the Skyfighter is going to come in. Kaidazor is going to go golden though, as the Dawning Shadows will be dodged by Turk. It's going to be a target there. It's going to be a 1 for 1 as Anonymous will be able to take down the Sway, and that's going to be another kill there for Silva. Going to be able to pick up 2. We've got another double kill for Smartass though, as Glacial Esports is going to be able to pick up 4.
Yeah, looking for the triple, but it's sadly Turk, the only one that is alive. So it's your support, the last kill, the last player alive. Can they push with the Herald to win? It's 20 seconds, 15 seconds for 0 for 1, and 20 for Margaret. So maybe not win, but at least get a turret. Next turret with the Herald.
Yeah, this is going to potentially be the end game where we are going to get a triple headbutt from Shelly. That is the hat trick being completed, but the tower will not go down, barely being able to survive. But the chances for Team Ambition Black to come back from this one is, I don't want to call it, but, you know, time of death, 23 minutes maybe.
So, it's team, it's hard.
Oh no.
Poping may jump over the wall and kill you in a whim.
Oh no.
But
they want it, and they are going in for it. Turk is going to be the target. We do have Glacial Prism just about ready. Popeng knows that he can use that, and they are going to go in for a better angle. They're all grouped up! They're going to get stunned. Smartass is going to be the target, though. Popeng is going to drop the Graceful Prism. That's going to be the stun. Popeng going to be able to pick up 1. That's Silva going to be able to get another one. Castle is going to try to go in. Going to stay in. Popeng will pick up another. That is 3 kills for Glacial Esports. You got Mitch in the top lane doing absolutely nothing. That's the 4th against Team Ambition.
Yep, just like that, they win the game. Garen was pushing, but both turrets will fall immediately. Can Garen do it? 1v5. And just like that, TAB get... Oh no, the Devour. TAB get destroyed. 3-0. 7-0. It's incredible.
I have no words. I have no words. Glacial Esports has shown me and has taught me a very valuable lesson today. We knew this before, but it's taught me a valuable lesson again, and I said that at the very beginning of this series, that just because you are first seed, it doesn't mean that you're going to win. I had confidence that it was going to be a 3-0, but I said at the very beginning, this is what makes esports so great, is that a fourth seed can come in and absolutely upset the first seed, and that is exactly what Glacial Esports have done. They've shown us that everything that was discussed about the strength of Group B, the strength of Group A, first seed performance from Team Ambition Black does not matter, and it's going to be Glacial Esports making it to the semifinals.
Yeah, and fully deserving. They were the clear better team today. They came in as the underdogs, to say it like that. To me, they were the worst team in the 8 teams. Like I did it. I do not go back on that because previously I did come to that, but today they played like they were a first seed, and to that there's full merit going to GEB because I feel like that was something not only unexpected but something that it's hard to come through, especially after how regular season works. So full credit, they deserve the victory, and they showcase that now they are a team to be careful about because they not only have good playing style inside of the game. They have good fundamentals. They played really well. Their draft was really good. In the 3 games, they played their draft to their full strength and have picks that teams have to be careful about not about allowing to go through. So all in all, they have clear strengths that can be quite dangerous for other teams.
Yeah, I mean it. I'm gonna say it right now. It wasn't a top diff. It wasn't a jungle diff. It wasn't a mid diff. It was a team diff. Absolutely a team diff.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. Silva and Purple Ninja played so much better than 0 for 1 and Turk. Kaidazor played so much better than Mark Boots. Despite having Mark Boots having CS advantages, Kaidazor played so much better. Popang, so much better than Castle. And Smart playing so much better than Mitch. It was a phenomenal showing from Glacial Esports, showing us what they can do. And we are going to go to the analyst desk now, bring Becky Rita back in here, but very shocking, I think, for a bunch of us. Very shocking completion. I love it. Out to lunch. Becky Rita will come back sooner rather than later.
I'm back. Sorry. I went to go get a snack. I missed the game. We're going to game 4, right?
Oh, you were with the TV team then, because they also missed the game.
Oh no. We're going to game 4, right? Garen got pentakill and carried the team, right? Right?
He got a kill.
Right? He got at least 1, right?
He got 2 kills. Yeah, he got 2 kills, I think. So. But yeah, so 3 kills. That's good, I think.
Yeah. Definitely unfortunate for Team Ambition Black. Like you were saying, Moose, these kind of upsets can happen. And on the day here, Glacial Esports just were the better team. They showed up today. And I don't know if it was a lack of prep, if there's like just a lack of preparation for this patch. There wasn't anything too different that Glacial Esports did that would necessarily be different on previous patches. So I have no idea what happened here, to be honest. Like, I mean, we can watch the games and we can tell that the Team Ambition we saw tonight was not necessarily the team we expected to see or the team we were hoping to see. So it's definitely unfortunate for the players to get knocked out by the lowest seed of the other group.
Yeah.
In round 1. Because you don't get another chance. And not just knocked out. They were 3-0 swept. But,
it was a smacking, to say the least.
It was definitely an unfortunate series of events for them. But you have to give so much credit to Glacial Esports for bringing it home today and really making a statement for themselves going into the rest
Yep.
of the playoffs.
Yeah. Setting themselves up now for the semifinals. We don't know yet who their matchup is. I was watching the match history. We have two other 3-0s from the two that I expected to come through, so nothing out of the ordinary there. It was the teams that I had full confidence in, if I'm gonna be honest. BG and G7 are going to be the semifinals on the other side. So we're still waiting for GEB's opponent. But GEB looking really scary. That's something that certainly cannot be overlooked. Like, as much as I think TA didn't perform, you have to look at the other side of the coin, and the other team has to perform to win. So GEP played great. They had so many good things to showcase, and I'm really excited to see how they do in their semifinal. I want to give, like, we're talking about the Daves and all that. I want to give my MVP to whoever made the huge change, whoever managed to accomplish a huge change between regular split and playoffs GEP, because that person or those people deserve praise for what they've done.
Yep.
Absolutely. Moose, what takeaways do you have from the series that you haven't already elaborated on?
I have nothing else to say. I really don't. Like Glacial Esports Black just played a better series. They just played a better game. They drafted better. They played a better early game. They played a better mid game. They had a better team fight. So if you do that, you win games, and they have definitely made that happen. The closest game between these two teams was game 1, and even game 1 after that 10-minute mark, it felt like it was a complete shutdown for Team Ambition Black, and they never recovered.
Yeah, well, definitely it's gonna hurt for a little while for these players, but I do want to say thank you for coming out here and playing in the league and giving it your best shot. At the end of the day, Glacial Esports just showed up. They just showed up, and you'll have another shot, of course, next season. And if we look at our predictions here, of course, I was wrong. I said that it would be Team Ambition 3-1. But fortunately, our genius casters, they predicted an 0-3 for for Team Ambition, that they were gonna lose. I didn't know we were doing predictions on who was gonna lose. I would have maybe gotten it right,
It's the new addition from Cow. The Cow told us that it was going to be losers now instead of winners, and that's why we went for the 0-3s. Yeah.
Now that you say that, that's true. Cal did tell us that we were going to predict the losers and not the winners. Okay, so we were all correct, actually.
Well, you missed on one game, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. I had a little bit of hope. I believed in the Garrett.
You had a little bit of hopium. I do want to really quick. I do want to say that I did just get confirmation. Rice Farmers versus CB Infusion is currently 1-1. So
okay,
that's still a very
that's the closest matchup we've had so far.
Yeah, it's the only quarterfinals that have had a
both teams win a game. It's the only one.
Yeah.
Other 3 have been 3-0.
Yeah,
it's actually amazing.
We'll have to see which of those two teams can take it, and we'll have that result for you next week. But for now, unless either of you have anything else you want to say, no, excellent. We can go ahead and close out the broadcast. So first of all, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the follow button on the stream, both for this one and for the second channel. It really helps support the cast here, helps support the broadcast. If you want to get in on the action yourself, join the Discord. There's a link in the chat right now. You can get in on not just the pre-made leagues with your own teams, but also in the draft leagues if you're a single player. When the next set of leagues start up, it is a great opportunity to get in on the ground floor of a really exciting and vibrant community. And of course, if you want to get more information about when we do broadcasts, what's being broadcast on the day, and who is getting streamed, make sure you follow us on Twitter. We will have updates on those games most of the time. We'll have them on time, so you can see who is playing on the day, who's going to be on the desk, and who will be which of your favorite teams are going to be showing themselves. Yeah. So that aside, I believe that's all I have to say. Moose, is there anything coming up in amateur esports that you are a part of that you would like to shill?
Yeah, definitely check out Proving Grounds next week. I'm not going to be like on the main stream or anything, but I am going to be casting for Team Ambition for their for some of their Proving Ground squads, and I'll be there on Monday and Tuesday. Of course, check
Nice.
out Victoris and their shows and broadcasts throughout the week. They cast every single weekday League of Legends and Valorant content, and of course, if you guys are enjoying the content that you're seeing from Victorious, please feel free to give them a follow on the Twitch. If you really like them, give them a subscribe, and definitely follow their Twitter and join their Discord to stay up to date on all of the amateur esports action that's going on throughout the metaverse. I know TDS, you've been casting some fun card games as well, though.
Yep. I was on Thursday with Legends of Runeterra. I'm pretty sure I'm not next Thursday, but if I am, come follow me. The easiest way to know how I'm casting, it's that Twitter. Wait, that Twitter right there. It's the easiest way to know when I'm casting, so follow me there if you want to know more. And yeah, I'll be casting as much as possible.
Yeah. How is lore looking right now? How's the meta? Just briefly. Sorry for the tangent.
It's
How is it looking? Is it
so
interesting?
so it's kind of mid-rangey where
Ooh.
you can play aggressive comps, but a lot of the meta comps feel like they are really mid-rangey. Viego is broken there as well. So if you play League
Okay.
of Legends and you think Viego is broken, in lore is the same thing.
All right. Is deep good? Lie to me if you have to.
No,
Oh!
I won't lie to
How
nobody.
dare you?
It's not good.
That's okay. I didn't
I don't think
expect
I
it to
haven't
be
seen
good.
it in a while.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll have our day again. It'll come. I believe. But yeah, no. Please check out Legends of Runeterra. Check out Proving Grounds next week, and of course, check out the rest of the Victoria streams throughout the week. A lot of these leagues are getting into playoffs, so this is where the rubber hits the road, and we start to see some really exciting games play out. So once again, I have been Becky Rita. Joining me today, of course, were Moose and TDS and Cal behind the camera. Thank you all for watching and have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Try this, try that, try everything. Coming right back, right back. Won't you wait for me? I need you to stay right there. I'm coming right away, my dear. Try this, try this, Sometimes when you're here, I can't feel no doubt. 'Cause you keep me where the stars are bound. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter, 'cause I feel so free now. Sometimes I wonder, will we be around to see forever on the silver cloud? Sometimes when you're here